The story starts in 2032 at the National Academy known as Valkyria. Someone asks if the freshmen are ready for the challenges ahead. And without beating around the bush, says the class exam is already starting now, man. The first test was the elimination of goblins and the group is already advancing. And, man, this exam here is the fairest of all. The test is taken nationwide, and it's the viewers who vote for who's the coolest. Everyone's praising, saying that as always, Valkyria's recruits are the most baddest. While the director tells them to give their best, this was their chance to change their future at the academy. Back in the forest, there are some goblins standing there when the guy already comes in and serves it right to their mouths. The viewers noticed what seemed to be a wind relic and another badass girl already goes by slicing. There's a guy on the top of the chat like me, celebrating a cute warrior chick. Whoa. Here comes another one with a big axe and a dahlia on her head exploding, man. Everyone watching the broadcast is praising, saying the level is high even for Valkyria. Obviously in this place, right man, hunger and strength decide everything, even among students. The lingering question though is what happens to the weak in an environment like this. Two freshmen are all messed up there when a loud noise comes from behind. People tell the drone to get closer to see what's up, and there's a guy in yellow heading toward a goblin. Look at this bastard's outfit, kid. You better watch out. You're gonna get hit with a copyright strike, man. Then they'll take your story down, and you'll be complaining. And, obviously, the damn guy doesn't even know how to complete the cosplay, man with the hair on his head. Of course, he took a direct hit from the goblin and ended up on the ground. The chat is saying that this is one of the weakest creatures. There's no way a freshman gets beat up by something like that. The kid goes to grab the wooden stick on the ground, but at that moment, he's strangely electrocuted and a message on his hand says he can't equip that item. That's because no item was allowed while he was wearing the beginner outfit. The goblin gets closer and once again, he gets beat up. What's this, son? Poor guy just got beaten and is already lying on the ground embarrassed. People in the chat are saying it's better to give up, but they're impressed that at least he got up once more. Suddenly, he says he equips armor, man, and butt naked even, he goes after the goblin. The folks in the chat are complaining saying they don't pay taxes to Valkyria to train a lunatic like that. And with this humiliation for the whole country, man, the academy ranked him as the worst student. The poor guy had 0 relic star ranking and was class E last in the rankings. Obviously in this world, guess what? Folks, an interdimensional war is going on, where monsters from other places are invading without warning. In no time, humanity was on the brink of collapse. Most human weapons were useless and all that was left for humanity was despair. What seems to be our young boy, man, is standing still there when a red dragon appears in front of him and breathes fire at a man. However, it was in these desperate moments that the first signs of hope started to emerge. The items known as relics, something that was created when certain individuals came into contact with materials from the other world. They manifested in physical form like a kind of fragment of the soul. Our protagonist's father was a hero who protected people with his shield relic, but something changed that day. Tanking the dragon's flame, the father calls out to Hinata, tells him to grab Shizuku and run. He had to become strong and protect everyone. Oh man. This wasn't even cliché. Right, guys? At least our boy wasn't one of those who hesitates, man. Screw it. The father grabbed his sister's little hand and let's go, my girl. Let that fool die there. But from that day forward, he decided to work hard and train tirelessly as if his life depended on it. Yeah. I mean, considering there are monsters in the world, it's good to get strong. Otherwise, you really die, man. Life depends on it. He got all this motivation from his father's words, and it's been 6 months since he joined the strongest and most prestigious training academy. But only recently did he find something out. Some guy in Kurumamura, the red-haired dude, asks Hinata if maybe it's time to give up. Man, our boy is already crumbled on the ground, and the guy offers to pour some milk on him. Yeah, he poured the little milk there. Peculiar. Right? Our boy gets up there with his head looking like an actress from a slightly more risky series. Then the guy pats his back and puts up a sign saying, "Here comes the hero." Our boy man doesn't say anything, son. Just walks down the hallway like an idiot, really. But in front of him, oh, look who's coming, son. The thick-thighed girl with blue hair. She gives him a stare and walks right past, cold as ice, son. Isn't that the sister he saved? You damn brat. Just because you're all badass now, you're ignoring my boy. Her name is Shizuku Minace and they've been childhood friends for a long time. That's because on the same day he lost his father, she lost someone too. Since then, they've always had each other's back no matter what. But everything changed when he entered the academy, man. She became one of the most powerful students with a powerful relic. And Walmart Sadama, obviously, is considered a total failure who has nothing but that cartoon outfit. To be honest, he's already kind of used to everyone's judging looks. But when he opens the door, a shoe flies in his head. Hey, Kuromura asked why he took so long by any chance, while the nerd next to him asks not to throw his shoe like that. Our boy looks to the side. Man, are there only thick-thighed girls in the school? What's this, man? Oh, for God's sake. We are in Class E, folks. It's just the weaklings with no relics. I thought the Kuromura dude was badass, but he's starving too. No talent. At least there are some cute young girls in class. An art boy says that now you and the teachers care about this class. Right, man. It's the trash of the trash. Then Kuromura gets close and asks where he's looking. Man, it'd be good not to ignore him when he's talking. He activates his relic too. From Walmart, we already know his rank E and punches our boy in the stomach. Obviously, the school rules forbid using relics in the classroom, but nobody gives a damn about that class, man. And the bastard still asks if our boy keeps doing everything he does just to provoke him. He had to learn quickly to show respect and make sure he doesn't get angry. Hinata is just wondering why he's not only in the worst class, but is the worst of the worst. And obviously, because of that, the last 6 months haven't been easy at all. Then the guy of the classes tells Kuromura to chill, or he's gonna end up smashing the yakisoba hot dogs Hinata brought. Seeing the stuff on the ground, he says he forgot to thank him and stomps on his ribs. The two girls in the corner are saying it's always like this. They are even starting to feel sorry for the boy. The pink-haired one asks why Kuromura messes with Hinata so much, and the other replies that it's Hinata's fault Kuromura is in Class E. Apparently, there was some kind of power demonstration test between people, and Hinata ended up having to face this guy. But he didn't give up no matter what, which affected Kuromura's evaluation. The pink-haired one is impressed, saying that at least when it comes to taking a beating, he can handle it. The other says she agrees, but even so, he shouldn't accept getting beat up so much by Kuromura. It's not gonna help him at all. The guy grabs him by the collar, lifts him up, and asks if he understands how pathetic he is. But then a strange system window appears showing 9,990 out of 10,000. Hinata smiles, which obviously pisses Kuromura off even more, and he punches him again in the face. The window increases to 9,991 out of 10,000. He keeps getting beaten, and the points keep rising. Then being attacked in the middle of the desks, Kuromura asks why he's smiling so much. And to try to provoke him, says that since his relic is useless, his parents probably were too. Obviously, that it's a nerve of Hinata, and Kuromura tells him not to stress, man. He should just bring his family next time so he can beat all of them up too. What the hell, man? Wanting to beat the guy's family out of nowhere, Hinata's got his fist clenched and the guy tells him to come at him. But he thought it would be hard, especially because he's sure the boy can't even stand up out of fear. The guy with glasses tries to ask him to ease up, but, man, he gets grabbed by the collar too. And Kuromura asks if he wants to switch places with this failure. Obviously, he just says no, he didn't care about that piece of trash either. Kuromura says he doesn't believe it now. He'll have to see him punch him in the face to be sure. Man, the kid, grab a chair and smash it right in the middle of his head. What the hell, man? That really proved he hates the kid. At least the little system finally hit 10,000 out of 10,000, man. Kuromura turns around saying to just grab that disgusting yakisoba and leave. Our boys they're stunned, leading like an idiot. Even after training all these years focusing on body and mind, nothing changed. But at that moment, the little window pops up. The condition is complete. Take 10,000 damage. And now he can evolve his beginner outfit to the indomitable outfit. The guy cracks a little smirk, thinking that if results haven't shown up yet, all he has to do is keep working hard. After all, giving up doesn't exist in his dictionary. Then he says there's a certain secret about that outfit. It was 6 months ago, only after the exam, that he started to discover it in front of one of the academy's training portals. He remembers going through hell in the exam and being ranked like trash. He knew that at this pace, either he was going to be expelled from the academy or never become good enough. Unfortunately, that's how things work at Valkyria. That's because the entire place is funded by the taxpayers, man. That's why people with poor performance are simply cut. He absolutely can't afford to pay for another academy that's as good as this one. But the problem is that to stay here, he has to get stronger. He clenches his fists, swearing he'll give his best and make it happen because he knows relics can be upgraded. A simpler form, for example, is his sword relic. The more you slash, the more its traits evolve. The problem is he knows nothing about the relic he uses. That tight little outfit must have some special ability, because if it doesn't, he doesn't even want to think about it. Man, he just has to focus on what he can do to change his life. But there he is again on the ground, fallen like an idiot, saying now he's screwed because at this rate, he might end up dying right there. But he calms down and tells himself to remember that for a long time, an attack like that would kill any human. One question he doesn't understand is why his relic doesn't have any weapon. Maybe he just has to punch the enemy with that damn suit. Another option was to take off the suit and grab a regular weapon, then that wouldn't make sense either because he'd lose the only relic he has. Suddenly, he remembers that moment when he grabbed a weapon and got electrocuted. Right then, he runs toward the goblin who's about to strike. But, man, he manages to defend himself. He even pulls off a jujitsu move, throws the stick to the ground, and the system says he can't equip that item. At that same moment, a shock activates and transmits through the goblin, who ends up getting fried and drops dead on the spot. The bastard smiles, saying he finally killed the first one. The only problem is that it took forever, he won't be able to use that trick again. Not to mention that it was a huge effort, and all he got was a little mana stone. Suddenly, the item disappears from his hand out of nowhere. Before he can notice what happened, a message appears saying he absorbed a mana loss for the first time and that his indomitable spirit caused a reaction in the outfit. On top of that, he gained an expanded system screen, some added functions, and the upgrade condition changed to 0 out of 10,000. Obviously, he has no idea what's going on. Since then, he's been deliberately taking as much damage as possible to make the number go up. And now there, he is in the dorm saying he finally did it. He took the 10,000 points of pain required and the outfit was going to evolve. Man, it must be awesome to have a punching bag with some Jun weights right beside it. The moment you feel angry, you just give it one. And is wondering how to activate the effect from those 10,000. Right? How does the outfit update? The system says he just has to shout update, and instantly the evolution begins. A golden sparkle surrounds his body and, guys, he lost the Sadama outfit. Now he really looks like a bee. This thing straight from the Bee movie. Wow. One old film. Looking at himself in the mirror, he says it's a subtle change. However, it's the first time he's heard of a relic that evolves through a mission like that, and is excited to see what abilities came with it. Suddenly, for the first time, he can see his own status window. And in the information, the relic shows. This was an item that gave powerful protection plus the blessing of growth. He's not sure what that means, but at the very least, he must be more resistant. Looking at the clock, he sees the portals must still be open. Maybe he should go there to test what this is capable of. In the moonlight, there's a goblin standing still when Shizuku passes by slashing it. But the humble Manetsu says this damn place isn't even good for earning rewards anymore. And then they hear a step to the side and see the girl passing by a man. The blonde girl with a dumb face asks what it was and she answers that it was nothing. But right away, the friend notices and says she remembers him. It's the funny guy who caused a disaster during the first few days. Shizuku walks off saying that guy should just give up on the academy and focus on comedy instead. The friend finds it weird and asks why she's so mad. She says it's nothing and tells them to get back to practice quickly. But, she walks off talking to herself, saying she thought she could count on him, but he just keeps disappointing her. Meanwhile, the blonde is wondering why the girl hates the poor guy so much. Since our copyright boy's outfit is unforgettable, she's already wondering if he doesn't look like he's changed. And now there he is again, face to face with another goblin. Good grief, the goblin comes at him with a stab. Instead of dodging, he decides to test it and blocks with both arms. Right, man. At least he got confident because it seems like that outfit didn't take any damage. He hits the goblin in the chin, but the kid's strength still isn't all that right, man. The monster just grabs his head and slams the back of it into the ground. What the heck? Little Kiko boy. And the monster's already pounding on him. At least with that outfit, he's not dying. Right, man. What a humiliation, man. Life's tough for the boy. In a few seconds, he's surrounded by goblins on all sides. He wonders when all those guys showed up and immediately tries to escape, but gets struck right in the back, man. Walt, his vision is going black and is just begging for someone to help. Then he remembers someone telling him that he must remember he can't always protect others. When everything starts to fall apart, he could only count on himself. And that's why he had to get stronger and become a hero who could be there for people when they needed it most. Man, he got motivated, but then took another hit to the neck. Wait, hold up our boy, man. Now he grabs the monster's weapon. But, as always, the system says he can't equip it. Damn it. I thought it was going to be epic already, but nothing happened. He just got electrocuted again for trying, and the monsters dropped him. So now the desperate guy runs away, asking what he can do to get out of this. That's when the system says the indomitable spirit triggered a reaction in his outfit, and he had acquired the revenge ability. Off he goes, motivated again. I'm not putting any faith in this kid anymore. Every time he makes that face like he's gonna do something, he just gets beaten up like an idiot. Then the system says that to activate revenge, he had to shout the name of the ability. It stored all the damage he received and converted it into energy, which was released over 10 seconds. But, unfortunately, he could only use it once a day. Dang, man. The cooldown on that skill is really long. Seeing all the goblins rushing at him, he's sure this is the perfect time to test it. He shouts revenge. The gauntlet activates. He runs forward and lands one right in the first goblin's stomach. Man, they go flying like bowling pins, one hitting the other. He charges ahead, hits another one in the chin, another in the chest, one in the face, smashing another into a tree. Man, he finally killed something and collapsed, exhausted. He realizes he now has a trump card for dangerous moments. The problem, obviously, is that it's once every 24 hours. Not to mention, farming with it would constantly put him at risk, so he couldn't keep putting himself in situations like that. Besides, he still doesn't really understand how this outfit works. It's not like he gained more stats or got stronger. It's just new abilities. Then he sees the mana stone that dropped from one of the goblins, picks it up, and it's instantly absorbed. And right away, new features are unlocked. Well, with this man, he gained a bunch of abilities out of nowhere. He gained agility, compatibility with knockdown-type weapons. Right? Stun weapons, sword, reinforcement, durability. Seriously, the kid suddenly got everything. And now he doesn't stop. A week later, there's a little goblin walking through the forest and he comes up from behind and lands a clean revenge hit, crushing its skull. The moment I said I wouldn't trust this bastard anymore, he gets strong, Dan Brat. That was the first hobgoblin he killed, and with that new mana stone, new talents were upgraded. Now he was able to use some weapons and felt confident enough to risk facing someone stronger. Since unlocking that new list, his relic has been going through several transformations. The update list shows what's required to unlock each of the abilities. For example, to unlock that Air Actor 1, he had to kill 10 goblins, kill another hobgoblin, and also wear the outfit for 1 hour. So, basically, back when I said it unlocked, they actually hadn't. What unlocked was the mission to unlock it. Got it. That's it. And it seems he now also has an impact-resistant skill, which is pretty obvious what it does. He already noticed this is the format to keep evolving the outfit, but the problem is that there isn't always a mission to do. He needs to figure out what triggers these changes. Sitting under the tree, he starts remembering everything that happened until he recalls a window that said he absorbed the mana stone for the first time and the indomitable spirit caused a reaction with his outfit. The issue is this indomitable spirit stuff is kind of confusing. Maybe it has to do with his mindset, or maybe it's simply related to the emotions he's feeling at the moment. The problem is that both options are kind of abstract. Right? There's no clear way to know what to do. Sometime later, there he is at the hospital. Right, man. What are the odds Emmanuel Protagonist doesn't have a mom in the hospital? Damn. It's like the Japanese isekai thing. He asks Hikari if she should be moving like that, and she says today she's feeling better. She's gathering energy, and soon she'll be out of there. Ah, now I get it. That one isn't his mother. Right? The mother is the one on that high little bed because he asked how she was and Carrie said, yeah. Like, she's the same as always sleeping. Looks like an incident happened 10 years ago. Since then, his mother has been unconscious and hasn't woken up, a phenomenon known as crystallization. As soon as the monster species started appearing, this disease came with them, and a cure still hasn't been found. Ah, Hikari apparently is the younger sister, who was also exposed to the poison but seems to be recovering. At the pace things are going, and at most a year, she'll be able to leave that place. But the moment he starts thinking about the only real problem, suddenly someone shows up at the door. All cheerful, Hikari greets Kagura, who greets them both, saying she looks much better today. Carrying a bunch of fruit, he says he couldn't come to a place like this empty-handed. Then with a hand on our boy's shoulder, he says he came at the perfect time. There's something he needs to talk about with the boy. Oh boy. The way he leans in close to whisper, you can already tell he's not a good guy. Then grabbing a can of coffee, he asks if it's not time for Hinata to give him an answer. This guy, Jinji Kagura, is the head of the Phoenix Guild. He turns to our boy and says that if he wants to take care of his sick mom and sister who's also fighting the same disease, he's gonna need a lot of money. Apparently, this guy used to run the same guild that Hinata's father was part of, and he asked our boy if he doesn't want to find a cure for his mother. Hinata just thinks that this bastard keeps pretending to be a good guy like he's going to do something noble. But what he's asking him to do is disgusting. It seems that the crystals form in patients due to crystallization have properties similar to mana stones. Mana stones are currently humanity's main energy source, and it seems there's some research going on using people exposed to that disease to kind of create a zombie that produces energy man. Basically, what this guy is asking for is authorization to use his mother as an experiment under the excuse that they are looking for a cure for the disease. And Hinata just says it's a shame, but his answer is still no. Kagura puts his hand on his face and warns that he knows the kid must be running out of money. It's not possible his dad left that much. The hospital bills for his mom and sister are probably piling up. How's he going to take care of both of them at this rate? He tells Anada, to be honest, with the low-level relic he's got, he'll never be able to earn enough to cover the family's expenses. But Anada just responds that it doesn't matter to him. The answer was going to stay the same. He would keep looking for a way to protect his family no matter what, because that was the last thing he promised his father. And he warns once again not to mention any of this to Hikari. Kagura says it's okay. He's not trying to make Hikari hate him. But if the boy changes his mind at any point, he just needs to message the same number. With that, he leaves while our boy stands there wanting to kill the bastard. Protecting his family has been fully his responsibility ever since his father passed. As he enters the room, Hikari asks what the conversation was about, and he says it's a secret. And Hinata is there, anxious to get into his strong guild to really start making money. He had to get stronger. In fact, way stronger than he is now. Already leaving the hospital, he checks his phone and sees there's still time to hit a dungeon. He decides not to rest today on the weekend and to go right away, but right at that moment, there are some guys cornering a girl in an alley, telling her to relax and come with them. They'll pay her well. Hinata recognizes her, Akane Akuma, who's also from the school since everyone's in uniform, and she's there saying she doesn't need their money. Walmart Saitama just keeps walking, not caring about any of that. The guy in the beanie tells Akane to stop playing hard to get. Everyone from the higher classes is waiting for her. She asks what they are talking about, and the prettiest one in the white cap says everyone already knows what she did. She replies they got the wrong person, but the traffic cone says is sure. He heard it from someone really close to her. He gets closer and says that if she doesn't want the whole school to find out, it's better she just obey. For a second, it looks like she's going to give in. But instead, she just turns around and spits in the cone's face. She can flips him off, telling him to stick it where the sun don't shine. The girls laugh at Cone while he grabs her arm and tells her to stop playing innocent. He and her family thought it'd be better for her to be sold off. She pushes him again saying she has no idea what he's talking about, but the bastard is unstoppable and goes for her shoulder again. Perfect timing, obviously, for the hero to show up. Right, guys? She stands there surprised, wondering why Hinata is getting involved. The guy in uniform says his face looks pretty average. While the girls say he seems like that guy from Class E, considered the weakest and worst in the academy. They say the relic he got is literally just a costume and nothing else. The coon says he remembers it's the idiot who had his butt out during the exams. He steps in and says the kid better get out of there. They got business with Akane. Barboe stands firm, standing right in front of her without moving an inch. The dude goes in for a punch saying that the trash from Class E is way too bold. Meanwhile, Akane doesn't understand why Hinata from Class E is daring to stand up to these guys from Class C. But, check out the swag. Our boy grabs the guy's arm, throws it aside, follows with a sweep, face first into the ground. Damn son, WD me kid style. Akane was impressed 1 second. And in the next, he's already up waiting for the next guy. Next scene. We are at the kickboxing academy. Some folks are yelling at each other, and in the distance, there's the badass training guys. She gives the coach a glance. He comes in to throw a punch, but she dodges, lifts her leg, and nearly lands a hit to his head. The guy gets all awkward and a bit embarrassed. Says that as always, she was amazing and won. She thanks Sakahasha for the training, and he says he expected nothing less from her. That trainer is acting a little peculiar. Man won't stop complimenting her like he wants something. Says he heard she has a high-level relic and is a hard worker with a bright future. She, however, turns around and says there's always a bigger goal ahead. Like, here she was again with that drama. Without him hearing, she says that at least that's what she used to think. Now it kind of feels meaningless, or she's just trying to get better at martial arts and nothing more. But there's our boy, first thing, already on the ground. I'm not even trying to figure out how he managed to beat that guy alone, since he's always the one who gets beat the most in the class. Yeah. The previous guy in school comes in to throw a punch, but our boy grabs his arm and puts another one on the ground. What the hell? Then Diddy shows up trying to grapple him from behind. But thankfully, our boy elbows him in the stomach, spins around, and lands a strike to the back of his neck. Strangely, Akane is super happy. What's going on, girl? Okay. We just got saved, but that smile is a bit too wide, isn't it? Seeing him there surrounded by 3 losers on the ground, she realizes that in the end, he was never weak. It's just that getting a bad relic made everyone think that. Hinata then asks if anyone still wants to continue. The comb on the floor decides he's going to wipe that smile off his face and pulls out his relic, fires a shot at him, but Hinata notices just in time and raises his arms to block. He gets launched into the air. The boy almost took flight, but managed to land safely. Cone weirdly says his aim was off. I don't know if you noticed or not, but you can't, dude. Hinata's looking kind of confused, apparently, because he managed to tank that hit, and then more people start showing up to see what's going on. As soon as someone draws a relic, everyone's already talking about calling the police. The girls from the school know this is going to be a problem, and the rest stand up, and everyone takes off running. Then Akane comes to ask our boy if he's okay. The attack hit him directly. He, also unsure why, responds that yeah, he didn't take any damage at all. Then he turns and says goodbye, but now she's curious. She asked if he doesn't want to know why those guys were messing with her. Hinata just turns around and says no, but from the look of it, she wants him to ask. She gets a little awkward and says that if he doesn't want to know, she doesn't need to say anything. Everyone has things they want to keep to themselves. She sheepishly says that in the end, he saved her, but she doesn't understand why since she'd seen him suffer plenty and never helped. Suddenly, his expression changes and he comments about the flowers. If she has something like that with her, someone must be waiting for her at the hospital and she should head there soon. With that, he leaves, leaving her all shaky, wondering how she couldn't thaw for so long that he was a pathetic loser or disgusting trash. She always believed he was weak because he never fought back, but is actually pretty cool. Now at the academy a little while later, look who's there tapping his shoulder and calling him, asking how he's doing. He asks what it is and she just says she wants to thank him for standing up for her yesterday. He really saved her. He says it wasn't a big deal. And just as is about to turn and head into the classroom, shot echoes through the hallway, nearly hitting his head, and he has to dive to the floor. Obviously, it's the cone again accompanied by the pretty boys saying he's unlucky they go to the same school. Then the red-haired goth girl wants to know what Hinata did to make these guys so mad. Akane tries to step in, saying that if they have a problem, take up with her. But Cone just shoves her aside, saying the problem today is with that guy. He tells Hinata they only stopped before because the police could have shown up, but here in the academy, everything's fair game. Hinata just says they are exactly like the people from his class and then Cone smacks him in the face, telling him not to compare him with those classy losers. Our boy tanks the hit, gets up, and goes in with a kick. But the blitzcrank hand, man, prettiest boy at university says that as long as they're using their relics, Hinata doesn't stand a chance. Whoa. He already hit Q there, man. Nailed the grab right on the foot, picked the kid up, and left him dangling upside down. The Colin even gets up in his face and says, Hinata will only have himself to blame since he was the one who got involved in everything. From now on, his life was going to be miserable until graduation day. But suddenly, whack, he takes a hit to the back of the head, man. Akane pulled out the Gatling gun and says they are all a bunch of immature brats. Meanwhile, the goth girl is wondering what she's doing. Looks like she lost her mind. The cone replies that now she really surprised him. Apparently, she had a compressed bullet gun, which was cute. But she needed to understand that when it came to shooting, they were in completely different leagues. Then he aims at Hinata's belly and says he's going to show how it's done. The shot hits square in the stomach. His grip loosens and Hinata slides down the hallway. Akane asks if he's lost his mind, trying to kill the kid. But he tells her to relax. If he survived yesterday's shot, he's not going to die that easily today. But right then, someone turns the corner. Man is the other bastard who bullies him, the wretched Takayuki. Hinata is there, falling, getting up, wondering what's going on. Why weren't those attacks hurting him? Just like yesterday, he's not feeling any pain. It's like he's just being blown away by the wind. Then he starts wondering, what if it's not the outfit getting stronger but him? Apparently, the stats he's earning from the mission window aren't being applied to the relic, but to his own body. Hearing Hinata getting up, Cone wonders if he held back too much on the kid. But then, man, Hinata activates revenge. He charges forward with Blitzcrank's hand coming in, while thinking that now he's not just some useless kid who can't defend himself. The punch lands, smack, right in the middle of Blitz's palm, man, and it rebounds back at the idiot who's launched into a wall, exploding right beside the other bully, now kinda confused by what just happened. The cone is confused and that punch could even stop a charging Renasiro's man. Not to mention, he can't understand how the kids have 100% after taking a direct hit to the stomach. Litz is trying to get up saying, man, that really hurts. But suddenly, the prettiest boy changes his story and says, actually, it didn't hurt at all. He's just impressed that the kid managed to do 1 damage. Now, Kun's feeling confident, thinking Hinata is only standing because the hit didn't land properly. And our boy realizes he screwed up. He should have waited to get hit more before using revenge. It's a messed up ability too. Dang. What a cursed skill. Now he's standing there a little insecure, wondering how he's going to deal with this since he has no more offensive skills. But enough of that man, he's already back in fighting stance, saying he's tired of getting beat up all the time. When a teacher shows up behind them, asking what's going on and reminding them that class hasn't even started yet. The Cohen says that our boy got lucky this guy showed up, but they'll settle this later. Akane finally lets out a sigh of relief and the red-eyed girl is just staring. Takayuki walks off, saying that for a loser, he sure attracts a lot of attention. For now, they'll let the kid of peace unless he wants to pick another fight. The glasses friend though has already noticed something's off with Hinata. He shouldn't be able to stop a relic like that. Not to mention, he's completely intact even after fighting someone from Class C. Sometime later, it's mealtime. As a good lonely nerd with no friends or boys in the bathroom, but focused on his stats, now he's starting to understand how that cursed outfit works. The most interesting thing is that the effects stay active even when he's not wearing it. To be honest, in a real dungeon fight, it wouldn't make a difference. He'd always have it on anyway. The real problem now was increasing his offensive power. He couldn't rely only on revenge, especially since it's once every 24 hours. But how does he reach the next level? That's when Takayuki shows up behind him and says Hinata should have said he was heading to the bathroom. Whoa, man. What's this, dude? You trying to corner him or something? He puts a hand on his shoulder and says he was impressed with the stump Hinata pulled that morning. Obviously, he already pulls it. He lands a hit in the stomach. Says it's a shame, but his fun ends here. Hinata's just standing there, but if I had to bet. Right? Obviously, that didn't hurt at all. And the glasses guy noticed too, man. Our boy didn't groan or say a word. There's definitely something weird going on with him. Takayuki realized that the hit didn't work on Hinata, and it's no use beating him up if he doesn't have revenge active. He's thinking of settling this with fists anyway when Akane appears at the end of the hallway. Takayuki wants to know what she wants with him, and she replies she's there to talk to Hinata. The guy finds it odd because he saw her earlier wanting to protect him too. Could it be she's starting to get clingy with the guy now? Akane tells him to stop making things up and says she just needs to talk to him a bit. Besides, what's the issue? Was he planning on starting a fight with the girl now? That'd be low in for trash like him. Whoa, man. Now you're cornered. What you gonna do, hit her? That'd just make things worse for you. With no other option, he walks away, telling his friend he wants to leave. She asks if he's okay, and he says yes. Then she quickly adds that you should know she's not going to keep saving him from Takayuki. He'll have to settle things with that guy himself. He's got nothing to do with her. Then what was she doing there bothering him? A bit awkward. She says it's because it was her fault those Class C guys came after him. He, however, just says not to worry. He got involved in all of it on his own without her asking for help. The girl's turning more and more red. Right? In another part of the academy, she tells him that her father fought on the front lines against the monsters that invaded from another world. But when she was still little, her father was attacked by one of them and has been in a coma ever since. From that point on, everything went downhill. Her mother chose to go into the entertainment industry, behind closed doors, man. And the more she worked, the more she changed. Every day, there was a different man at home. That led to her getting involved with a weird cult, and eventually, Akane had to hand over the money she earned to her mom. She still thanks her mom for raising her in the end. That's why she couldn't wait to get into this academy. Maybe the best option for her was to become a warrior like her father, fight on the front lines, make money, and survive far away from all that. But just like our boy, she doesn't have an easy life since she's stuck in Class E. Because of all that, once those guys found out about her mom's background, they came offering money thinking she'd be willing to sell her body. She said no. They kept insisting, and in the middle of that, our boys showed up. Hinata just wants to know why she's telling him all of this, did he ask? With her feet all awkward, she says it's because he ended up getting involved in all of it, and she thinks it's fair they knows exactly what he got into. Not to mention, he doesn't seem like the type who go around telling everyone. He gives a small smile, and then she says that at least the Class C guys disappeared, and he didn't get harassed the whole recess. But she warns him that he should be careful, because it looks like those guys will keep insisting. He replies that the one who needs to be careful is her. After all, those guys are really after her. She agrees, but says at least her relic isn't a yellow costume. And with that, she walks away, saying he can call her Akane. The little rascal's left there with a smirk. Meanwhile, in the hallways, Takayuki is pissed that just when things were about to get fun, that damn girl showed up. The glasses guy is always just sucking up and agreeing with everything he says. Takayuki stands there with a clenched fist, saying that next time he sees that kid, the lesson is going to be best one yet. He tells the guy, go find that brat, and say he's waiting for him in the bathroom. Takayuki and his obsession with getting Hinata in the bathroom. Man, that's one peculiar dude. Then the glasses guy, who I still don't know the name of that damn guy, is watching from outside and spots Cory Man, that friend of Akane's, who's chatting with Akane. He pretends he noticed a dropped pencil case and runs off. He hides behind a pillar and watches her talking with the guy. He wonders if she's confronting them to get them to stop bothering Akane. But Cory is saying she didn't interrupt anything. She gave him the perfect chance, and even then, they blew it. Akane tells her to cut it out. She already apologized. She should stop pestering her. Cory says that because of that, the guy is going to keep bugging her. Cohen says that besides the brat who interfered and ruined everything, Akane didn't even seem very interested in the offer. Cory is surprised and asks why she refused, to which Cohen says he wants to know that too, and they only made the offer because Cory gave them the information that her family was going to sell her to a behind-closed-doors bar. Woo, what a great bestie, that e-girl's dangerous man. The glasses guy is just listening as Corey says that since Akane is stuck in Class E, she thought it would be better if she worked that way. That's the only reason she tried so hard to find someone who could help her friend. Cohen said if she's truly messed up, to which she replies, no way. She's just helping her friend get money since sooner or later she's going to need it. But the guy says she only manages to pull this off because she's using her relic on the girl. Curry says that's not the case. Even though her relic makes people more likely to agree with her, it's not like they lose free will. They also have the effect of making the person more upbeat. She asks if he doesn't agree and is already looking off, clearly under influence, mumbling yes. Then Cohen snaps him out of it and tells her to stop using that power on them. After all, they are supposed to be on the same team. What they really want to know is why is someone with a powerful relic like her stuck in Class E. She explains it's because the Academy only focuses on offensive abilities and unfortunately, hers doesn't affect all monsters, so she was basically demoted. The guy asks if she's going to use the relic again and she says, of course. But this time, they better make sure she says yes. The guy replies that considering how out of control the other classmate is, she's about to ruin another person's life. Corey turns away and says that's enough talk for now. He'll see her tomorrow. The glasses guy, though, man, he just realized he heard something he really shouldn't have. The problem is, how is he going to handle it? He can't go up against the classy guys. Worst case, it looks like someone from a higher class is coordinating Corey and all of this, and he'll get dragged into it. Obviously, he can't count on Takayuki to help him. Then he remembers Blitzcrank getting slammed into the wall. Man, maybe. The chance was Hinata. He was the only one who may have a shot at stopping all of this. Seeing switches to Akane, sitting in class, remembering when she was with her dad, telling him he was an amazing hero. He replies he's not that strong. She says, that's impossible. You're the strongest person I know. He tells her that things don't work like that. Besides, strength isn't the only thing that makes someone a hero. A true hero is someone who fights, willing to give up everything. But there's no fight worth risking losing his family. He gently pats her head and tells her not to forget that. But in the next scene, he's being rushed on a stretcher. The nurses are yelling to hurry because he's about to die. Obviously, Akane doesn't understand anything, and right after that, the doctor says he survived, but his condition is terrible. Sometime later, she gets back from school and is at the hospital with her dad, when suddenly, her mom barges in with everything. Akane tells her not to smoke in the room, but the mom just asks if that bastard woke up. Before Akane can reply, the mom is already kicking the bed, saying the bastard promised to protect the family and now he's lying there passed out. Man, he could wake up just to slap her in the face and go right back into a coma. Akane tells her she can't say those things, but the mom insists that it's true. Because of that damn coma, they were drowning in debt. Things couldn't go on like that. That's why she already decided. As soon as Akane graduates, she's going to start working. And just like that, she walks out of the room. Man. In the meantime, Akane found out there's a way to save her father, a creature called the Shining Basilisk. Apparently, the liver of that monster can cure almost any illness. But it's so rare that even with all the money in the world, you can't buy one. The only way to get it is to be a hero and kill the creature yourself. And for that, she knew the only chance was to enter Valkyria Academy. But back to the present, looking at herself in the mirror, she wonders what she's even doing there. She can barely get out of Class E, and there's no way she has a chance of defeating that creature. Remembering Hinata, she wonders if, had she tried her absolute best, maybe she could have been like him. Right as she leaves the room, Kaori is waiting, with her big glowing orb already active. Let's be honest, it's massive. Like, how could anyone not notice? And obviously, calling her friend for a little chat. Meanwhile, Glasses Guy is looking for Hinata, wondering if he can really just talk to him out of nowhere and ask for help. He doesn't even understand why he's thinking about getting involved. This has nothing to do with him. Right when he's about to give up, Hinata appears and asks if he wants something. Notices Takayuki isn't with him, says that's unusual. Glasses Guy thinks this is his only chance to tell Hinata without getting too involved. Problem is, he doesn't have the guts. After all, everything he's done up to now has only made Hinata's life more and more miserable. Now that I think about it, this guy even smashed a chair into Hinata's head. Seriously, dude, you're not friend of the year. Hinata then turns and says if he has nothing to say, he's leaving, and Glasses Guy just stands there silent man. But looking out the window, he sees Kur taking the kun away. Just by the look in her eyes, it's obvious she's under the effect of the relic. But so what if Kur used it? That's not his problem. He turns around cursing and starts running. Kanata just watches, saying nothing. In a warehouse at the academy, Kuan and crew are gathered. The blonde one asks if what they've been waiting for is finally happening today. Kuan answers, yeah, definitely. Kuan apparently brought the girl herself. The guy says perfect. Now it's guaranteed. He always trusts Kuan. She's the reason he's been profiting so much. Right then, door opens. Cory enters, holding her friend by the arm, saying she's glad Akane trusts her this much. Right in front of the guy, she apologizes for taking so long. He asks why she used the relic. She said she wouldn't. Cory says that was the plan, but for some reason, Akane wasn't seeing things clearly, so she gave her a little help. The redhead stands up and asks Ishijima if this really is the girl. She's way too young. She can't believe he's actually thinking about making that girl one of his. Ishijima stands up and says she's cute, even his type, but, yeah, really young. He says he'll have his fun, then pass her along to his friends. Considering how pretty she is, he's sure they'll all love her. Yeah. Japanese story in this subject, man. 1 + 1 = 2. Cory whispers in Akane's ear that she's finally going to earn a bit of that money she's been needing. Hypnotized, Akane replies that, yes, she really needs to earn money for her dad. Ishijima says that no matter how many times he sees the effect, that relic of Cory always surprises him. Cory, all off kilter, says her relic isn't strong at all. It just gives the girl a little help. Then the blonde guy says that relics aside, Cory should be more cautious because someone followed her there. Glasses guy realizes he's screwed and immediately regrets getting involved. He turns to run while he still can, but Cory says it's just that idea Hagen. The blonde asks who that is and she says he's just a useless weakling. They don't even need to worry about him. Then Cory tells him not to run. Doesn't he want to be part of the group by any chance? He goes to refuse, but too late, man. She throws the big purple orb right in his face and is instantly all dazed. He says that, yeah, she's right. He does really want to join the group. Ishijima says they're going to need some way to keep the kid quiet. Right then, Cory gives an order and the guys already pull out the camera. The poor guy realizes he can't control his body anymore. He wonders why he's always useless in moments like this. He tries sometimes to help people, but his sense of justice isn't strong enough. In the end, he always ends up siding with the bad guys because it's easier. The truth is he gives in because it's always easier just to accept it. He can just tell himself he had no choice and blame the circumstances. But on the other hand, he sees that Hinata is different from that. Even when he has no option, man, there he is, coming in with a flying kick that lands square on Hagane's face, sends him flying backward to the ground. And in that moment, he snaps out of the illusion. Kari says she didn't expect him to show up out of nowhere. Akamani, seeing the look on our boy's face, seems to start regaining consciousness too. And the boy's there, man, focused. Now that I think about it, our boy doesn't talk much. He's a man of few words. Ishijima asks who this guy is now, and Cory says it's another one from her class, actually the weakest in the entire academy. The guy's confused, wants to know why the weakest kid showed up throwing flying kicks. Seems like he's not right in the head. Cory agrees, but says that now that he saw and heard everything, they have no choice. Then she asks if Hinata wants to join their group. But, man, our boy is the king of mental resistance. He just says he wants to ask her something first. In theory, wasn't she supposed to be a king's friend? Cory replies that not only was she supposed to be, she clearly is, so that question doesn't make sense. Our boy calmly says that if that's true, then she knows what Akane's family is going through, and she shouldn't be doing this. But Cory says that it's exactly because she knows their situation that she's being generous, giving Akane a chance to earn good money. From the floor, Hagen says she's lying. Akane never agreed to any of this. Cory used the relic to force her. Cory realizes that damn flying kick made the guy snap out of it. But her biggest problem now is realizing her relic doesn't work on Hinata. That heaven asks why Hinata even came there. He didn't even mention what was happening. Our boy says he had a feeling the guy was about to ask him a favor, but didn't have the courage. The guy's confused, wants to know why he came to help anyway. Every time he gets beat up by Takayuki, Hinata never does anything. Sometimes, he even hits him himself. Our boy simply replies that he always noticed Hagen didn't look like he liked doing that. In the background, Cone and the others are laughing, saying it's funny how he's trying to act like a hero. Looks like he got brave after being saved from 2 beatings. But, obviously, 3rd time's going to be different. They fire a shot, saying his luck's run out. But, man, Hinata just raises his arm and redirects the shot upward. Kawari and Ishijima are just watching while Cone is standing there, confused as hell, not understanding how that happened again. There must be something wrong with his weapon because there's no way that kid blocked that. But Ishijima says he's an idiot if he thinks that was luck. He then asks Kari what the kid's relic is and she replies it's just a useless outfit with no special abilities. Ishijima says that's not possible. There's no such thing as a relic with 0 powers. You must be hiding something. Cory admits that makes sense. What she really wants to understand is why her relic isn't working. Even against seniors and people way stronger than him eventually to get affected. Obviously, man, it's because the suit has resistance against mental manipulation. Here comes Blitzcrank again, but Hinata takes a small step back. The prettiest guy in school wants to know how the hell the kid always dodges. Meanwhile, Hinata's wondering why they are acting like this. The relics they received weren't made to hurt people. They exist to protect humanity from the creatures invading the world. To be honest, that's a fair argument, but the guy just bursts out laughing, the bastard. Hinata is a bit confused by the trio laughing, and that's when Ishijima steps in. He asks if Hinata seriously doesn't get how the world works. Only a tiny fraction of hunters ever make it into major guilds or join the government. The truth is, most people who receive a relic can barely survive, let alone make money, and getting a relic in the first place isn't even that easy. So, obviously, whoever gets one should use it to profit as much as possible. Activating his own relic, Hinata says that even so, they can't just destroy other people's futures. Is he really okay with ruining someone's dream just to make a few bucks? Obviously, if Bastard replies, that's exactly what he's okay with. He doesn't care who gets hurt as long as it's not him. Lots of people would take advantage of someone weak like her if they had the chance. To guys like them, betraying friends isn't even wrong. It's just the smart choice. In the end, there's no guarantee any guild would even want someone like Akane or anyone else. Letting her work herself to death chasing an impossible dream was just feeding her a lie. Finally, Hinata gets sick of hearing that speech and charges. Blitzcrank comes at him first, lands a clean hit, but Hinata's fist pushes it back. Ishijima admits his punch was pretty strong, but he's going to need more than that. It's because it's so weak that guys like them make him a target. Our boy starts unleashing a JoJo-style combo, remembering the scumbag who showed up at the hospital. He wonders why people like this always torment the weak and are never satisfied. He knows so many others are in the same situation. Him, a kind. But why do these guys think being stronger gives them the right to use others? Then he goes in for one more punch. And in that moment, the rage his feeling triggers a reaction in the suit, starting a forced update, man. His fist glows red and Blitzcrank has launched crashing into the wall. Everyone's looking rattled, and Hinata asks if they really think being stronger gives them the right to do whatever they want. But it's fine. He's going to make sure they regret ever thinking like that. With that, the Relic of Wrath activates, giving him way more strength than usual. The boy's gone full Deadpool, man, saying now they are gonna learn why they were wrong. From the back, Hagayan already noticed the boy's suit looked different. Meanwhile, Ishijima is staring at Kari, wondering what's up with the guy's relic and why he suddenly seems so strong. Just for Hinata's expression, he can tell something has changed. And, man, 1 second later, our boy is already charging to land a hit. But the bastard, Ishijima, manages to dodge, though just the wind from the punch cuts his face. He kicks Hanada back. Kori asks if he's okay. The villain wants to know why this kid who should be scared is only getting stronger, and it made no sense for someone like him to be in Class E. Suddenly, he crouches down, picks up a bottle, and says he's going to break this confidence. He pours water on his fist, saying he may no longer be at the academy, but back when he was Class B. And, obviously, the natural talent gap between them was massive. The guy gives a whole speech just to throw a triple spit-style attack, and our boy blocks it like it's nothing. Ishijima says that normally just that would have broken the arm of someone from Class E, not to mention, the kid had really fast movements, way better than just a few moments ago. Funny how Ishijima mentally compliments him and goes right ahead saying that the speedy game won't change anything. He still lacked a lot of battle experience. Then the triple spit that was on his back comes out from the ground and wraps up our boy. Ishijima says he should have considered he was fighting someone with trapping abilities. Our boy is taking attacks from all sides and the guy is spitting blood. The dude wants to act like the most stylish thug, but he won't stop pouring that water bottle on his arm, which is the most ridiculous thing. Still, he keeps saying that his relic is perfect for one-on-one combat. Too bad the kid ran into the wrong opponent. He sends Spit 2.0 at our boy's face, but something redirects the attack. Ishijima looks to the side and sees who's awake man. Akanjen had taken one to the face and now she's back to help our boy. I thought it was Hygen who slapped him, but she woke up earlier and slapped him. Now I'm confused. Kori realizes that for some reason, her ability isn't working anymore. She decides to use the purple orb, but the shot knocks it right out of her hand. Akane, sad, asks why Kori acted that way. With her little villain face, Kori answers that it's obvious she couldn't miss out on easy money. Akane clearly doesn't like the answer. Kori asks what's with that face. She was just a worthless piece of trash. She should be thankful for having the chance to make some money. Akane's just standing there saying nothing, hands shaking on the weapon. Girl gets shot and thrown back. Oh, girl react. She was hit by the tired cone guy who says classy kids have gotten too bold. There's our boy still trapped in a can who lasted 10 seconds on her feet. Ishijima says the fun is over. Tells our boy to just relax and accept the brainwashing. Good thing Kori was there, ensured they get out of it just fine. But Akane starts to get back up, says she hates to admit it. But, yeah, she really was weak at that moment, and she got absolutely no way to afford her dad's treatment. But still, she was going to keep working hard and doing her best. She stands up, fires a shot, and instantly, breaks Ichijima's trap. While crying, she asked our boy to take care of him this time. The classic cliché, our boy walks like a Chad saying to leave it to him. But Ichijima says is not very smart since he could just use his ability again and trap him. But at that moment, Hinata activates vengeance. The guy is surprised and our boy says is done with all that. Ishijima's attacks fall apart, and he realizes our boy had stopped the arm movement. Right away, he knows something's wrong, and as if pouring that water on his arm wasn't embarrassing enough, even trips on the bottle. Now there's our boy, face to face, saying he's going to show the power of the weak from Class E man and hits him square in the skull. When Ruri realizes it's over, Ishijima's nose is red. He's getting beat up when suddenly someone in the back calls his name. Oh, girl, let him beam up for 15 more minutes at least. And the brave Cone still tries to attack from behind. But once again, our boy just raises his arm and redirects that tired punch of his. Now, Kern finally realizes it wasn't luck. Hinata grabs him by the collar and says to never mess with them again. He didn't have time to waste some trash like them. All crook, Kern just says he got it, man. With that, he drops him on the floor and our boy walks away. He passes by Cory without saying a word and she trembles. Which for sure was wrong, she should have had both legs broken and been buried in that place, right man? But oh well, Akane's there off to the side, just remembering that her father used to say that heroes always stick to their convictions. And now she gives a little tap on her boy's hand, thinking he's a real one. Meanwhile, apparently, there's a girl from the school watching everything. Right? The place is pretty tidy. The blonde asks on the phone what they are going to do. The result of that was pretty unexpected, and she was talking directly with the principal, who's watching everything at this very moment when a damn mess. He replies that people who break the rules at this level don't deserve any place in the academy. This was supposed to be taken care of like they always do. Phew, good thing our boy didn't break the girl's legs and bury her, or he would have lost his enrollment. The principal's looking all cheerful. Seems like they already knew something was going to happen. They just didn't expect the big twist to be our boy. He's excited for the next reevaluation exam. Sometime later, there's a small crowd looking at the school bulletin boards. There's the message announcing the expulsion of Curry and the 3 losers. Akane asks if he told anyone, and he says no. He just moved on with his life, but it looks like the school found out. Akane says for sure it was someone who was there, since no one else knew about Curry. Right at that moment, our boy notices Takeyuki coming down the hallway, wanting to know what all the noise is about. Hakan says he doesn't know either, and the guy turns and says he's going to the cafeteria, telling them to come along. Hinata says that if Hakan wanted, she could talk to them. Hakan agrees but says that when she thanked him yesterday, all he said was that he didn't do anything and she didn't have to talk to him. With that, he turned and left without saying anything else. Hinata turns around saying he understood. She asked where he's going, and when he says he's going to buy some snacks, she wants to come along. But the guy's a cold Sigma and asks why she's following him. She gets startled and yells wanting to know why they wouldn't just eat together. Neither of them had anyone else to spend time with, so obviously, they stick together. Oh, how romantic of you, girl. There they are sitting on the bench, and it seems he told her about the relic because she's asking what is this about evolution and gaining new abilities. Sounds like the power of my man's son, Jinwoo. Right? In a world where no one can evolve, he's the only one who can. Oh, that's going to be title of the video. Let's go. What he says here doesn't make much sense. He probably already had the abilities. He just hadn't logged them, but he insists that's not the case. Yesterday, after that fight in the suit, his list of upgrades updated. And this time, the abilities all seem to be related to aggression and strength. Clearly, that shows the rage suit is focused on offensive skills. And now it's confirmed. The suits have a kind of emotional release mechanic, which gets him excited, and there's still plenty of room for him to get stronger. Then Akane sets her food down, stands up, and says she wants to start training with him. She's sure she won't get as strong or fast as he did, but at least she wants to start holding her own against those guys. Hinata, all sweet, says he knows she's been working hard. She's a bit confused, but he says he noticed. That moment when she equipped her own relic and took an attack by surprise. But even so, she got backed up, which shows she's been training. She turns all red, flustered, and says it doesn't matter. She has to work even harder. She stretches out her hand and says it's a promise. They are going to start working together to get stronger. He smiles and says, okay, man. But the moment he reaches out his hand, look who's up there. I'd already forgotten about you, Blue Thighs. She's up there wondering why these weaklings don't have anything better to do than just sit around. Then she turns to the blonde person beside her and asks if he's thought about the offer. She thinks he'd be the perfect addition to the reevaluation team. The blondie though calmly replies that she'll pass this time. Shizuku then turns and says that's fine, but if she changes her mind, just let her know. There's still plenty of time until the date. Oh man. Blondie is distancing herself because those three in her group seem to be friends with the guys who were expelled. She's sure Shizuku knows this. So why is she still willing to be surrounded by those people? A glance outside shows our boy having fun with his wife Yu, while thinking that Shizuku is putting herself in unnecessary danger. Next scene, training time, man. Look at how gay and they are joining the group. That there is Professor Ganzo Takashima, who says it's no use relying only on the relic. They also needed powerful bodies. Class E might be behind all the others. They still had a chance to turn things around with effort. Everyone practicing, face kicks and all. Our boy is hyped seeing the progress, and someone who's enjoying seeing his performance is Takeyuki off the side. In the classroom, the teacher says the re-evaluation exam is coming soon. He says he has to be honest. If they don't get a good result in this first one, the chance of changing classes later is extremely low. But even if they have weak relics, it's good not to feel discouraged. The exam criteria go way beyond just relic abilities. Things like performance, situational judgment, and combat ability will be taken into account. Besides that, teamwork seems to be the main focus. Right away, Takeyuki didn't like that, and Hagen wants to know how the groups will be formed. The teacher explains that each group will have 2 to 5 people, and the ones forming the groups are themselves, whoever they choose. Besides that, it can also be people from other classes. Right then, Takeyuki angrily says he must be joking. Who want to team up with people from Class E? The teacher says the test starts right there in their ability to recruit other people and show the value they have. That's because the academy exists to train students to become big-time members of the top guilds. And in guilds, obviously, team combat is essential. So it's a skill they'll have to develop whether they want to or not. If he doesn't want to stay in Class E, then he better work hard, find a good group, and get a good evaluation. Takadroki, however, is just standing there pissed, thinking that ever since he got into this damn class, things have never gone right. And looking at our boy, he knows he's stuck in this place because of that bastard. After class, obviously, Akane is already asking what they are going to do. He asks what she's talking about, and she says they need to find more people for the team besides the 2 of them. Clearly, she already included herself. Right? But the happiness ends when Takeyuki shows up and calls out to him, asking if he really thinks he has any chance. Who the academy would want to team up with the weakest person in this place? Akane and the 2, or they are not really caring much. Suddenly, the guy grabs him by the collar and says he's been getting too full of himself lately. It was time for him to go back to being a useful person and go fetch his lunch. But, man, Hinata's not really into that and tells him to go get it himself. The guy tells him to repeat that. Then he turns to Akane and asks if she's really going to side with this guy just because Corey got expelled from school. She answers yes and wants to know what the problem is. Besides that, she's sure he'd be a way more useful teammate than Takeyuki. The guy is fuming. She asks if Hagen doesn't agree with her. Back in the room, Takeyuki is kicking the table, dying of rage, and asking himself that bastard really thinks he's better than him. Hagen is telling him to calm down, and he takes a deep breath. He calls out to his friend, who asks what's up. Friend in quotes. Right? He comments about some of the students who got hurt and even died during the revaluations. Hagen asks why he's bringing that up, and Takeyuki tells him to remember that the fights happened in D-rank dungeons which are prepared to be like a real fight, and in conditions like those, accidents were inevitable. Of course, he, however, knows that sometimes some of those accidents are caused deliberately. Hagen is still a bit confused, and the bastard says that he's saying maybe this year something like that will happen too. Next scene, we see a chubby guy on the computer, chatting with some people online, and telling everyone to remember that Valkyrie's re-evaluation would be the following week. The guy in the little suit wonders if that weirdo hasn't given up yet. People want to know who, and obviously, he's talking about the one who got naked wearing Sadame's outfit. The giraffe girl says she heard that he's still at the school. Seems like everyone keeps an eye on who's leaving and entering the university, man, because they want to bet on who's going to get the highest score on the revaluation. As expected, Shizuko with a really annoying chubby girl are at the top of the betting ranking, alongside Saki Shirohane, that little blonde. These 2, in general, are expected to stay at the top, and, of course, way down at the base of the pyramid is our dear Hinata with a multiplier of 137 to 1. And speaking of the rascal, he's there in the forest training, and suddenly a big bear appears. And he just turns and gives it a solid kick to the chin. Poor thing, already foamy at the mouth and doesn't even, damn, notice it. Just by wearing that outfit, he instantly got stronger. The problem is that this little red one here drains a crazy amount of energy, and his vitality keeps dropping. When the energy hits 0, his life starts being drained per second while he's wearing the outfit. The good part is that it's related to stats. If he gets stronger, eventually, he'll be able to use it for longer. At that moment, Akane calls out to him, and he says she's running late. Poor girl replies that the supplementary classes took longer than she expected. She can't understand why in this hero academy she still has to keep struggling with his damn history and geography. He says he gets it, but like in the end, they are still in high school. She then asks if he's never taken a supplementary class, and he says no. She wants to know how that's possible, and is there looking kind of awkward. Ah, man. He's already remembering that he learned everything from the Dan Shizuko. From the beginning, the Cursed One already said that his physical strength wouldn't be enough. He then says he always studies a little before sleeping, and that's all. She praises him and immediately pulls out her weapon, saying it's time for them to start evolving, especially because the revaluation was already coming. However, in the middle of this little conversation, someone with a staff steps out from behind a tree. Hinata already picks her up in his arms and gets out of the place, which then explodes. He asks who the crazy one is, and look who showed up, man. The little blonde we already know is going to team up with our boy, saying she's sure now he really has changed a lot. The Hinata from before, the one she knew, wouldn't have sensed an attack like that coming. Our boy is a poorly informed bastard. He doesn't know that this girl is the top of the rankings and asks who the crazy one is. Akane says that it's that girl, Saki Shirohane, and the poor thing is they are kind of sad. Right. Because her fame isn't going anywhere. But her friend says she was one of the strongest in Class A, and people say she's the only person in the school who can go head-to-head with Shizuko and Ace. As soon as he hears the name Shizuko, the boy's eyes go wide. And then Akane says she's there because Shizuko hasn't been acting like herself lately. And now she hopes he doesn't mind, but she wants to see what he's capable of pretending. Already went in to strike with a spear. I thought the girl was a mage, man. What's this? Evil couple. Our boy, however, grabbed the spear with both hands, threw the girl far. Go flying, you damn thing. But even from midair, the crazy one still manages to fire a laser and blows up our boy, who gets thrown like an idiot. A cannon calls out to him, and as he's getting up right there in the middle of the smoke, damn girl, he's already seen her again. But the boy's got swagged, don't worry, blocked it with his arm, tossed it aside, and the girl gave a little smirk. Look at that. She did a spin with that little rotating footstep and stopped right beside his neck. Then she got that crazy look on her face saying, now it's confirmed that he's changed. He's evolved a lot, or he was holding back during the exam that time. Hinata just wants to know what she's after. She keeps staring and then says everyone's trying to recruit her for the revaluation exam. But if she's going to form a team, it has to be with someone who sparks her interest. This big hand here saying is very interesting. So how about they form a team? But right away, our boy just says no and thanks her. Poor girl is left standing there with a dumbfounded face and asks, what do you mean? She thinks she misheard and tries to explain again that she was suggesting they make a team. But he just says he understood and said no. Now it's messed up. Crazy ones are always like this. Now that he doesn't want her, she wants him even more and wants to know why not. To which he replies that he just has no idea who she is, and besides, she came at him out of nowhere. So she doesn't seem like a good person to have on the team. Not to mention he doesn't want people thinking that his result was only good because he got carried by her. Maybe if he had her on the team, sure, they'd have a better chance. But then no one would believe he won through his own abilities. There's a reason why he has to join a guild sometime soon, and for that, he needs to prove his place by showing his own strength. He's there with his little clenched fist, and she's just staring. That crazy girl only does that. Then she closes her eyes, turns around, and says that he really is interesting. But he better not take too long to reach the top man. Off she goes, the little lunatic. Akane, though, of course, is freaking out. Wanted to know why he turned her down since that would have already guaranteed a perfect score. Poor girl's got a mental challenge going on. He just explained everything, and she already forgot. Our boy immediately asks if she didn't hear what he said. Not to mention that the little blonde didn't even acknowledge her presence there. He got the impression she's the type who only cares about who she's interested in and doesn't give a damn about anyone else. Akane stops to think and says that really did make sense, especially because the girl didn't even talk to her. Our girl then walks off saying that she'd be a terrible partner. They'll do better, just the two of them. What's that? She turned all red saying she hopes so. Then, what are you thinking, girl? Hinata is now thoughtful, finally realizing how strong someone at the top class really is. Her strength foundation, speed, and tactics were on a totally different level. The axe nearly took off his neck, and poor guy noticed she wasn't even taking it that seriously. He knows that even if he had been using the little red suit man, he wouldn't have stood a chance. Really, he still has a long road ahead. He was being an idiot for getting confident just because he made a little progress. At the pace things are going, he's never going to catch up to someone like her, which means he has to improve his efficiency. That's when suddenly in the system, a message gives a reward, saying that he had received permission for an audience. The scene then shifts to the Kansai base for the defense against interdimensional monsters. At that moment, the periodic meeting of the Guild Alliance was taking place. The Muses King is named Renpei Hagane, and he says that today's topic would be appearance of some strange portals. They conducted some investigations but didn't find anything. The guy with glasses is named Jinji Kagura and says nothing. The redhead named Sherry Truman also doesn't say anything while the guy is asking what their opinion is since they are the ones who always go to the portals. Last is the red-eyed albino named Ogishio. Everyone there, man, is rank S and also leaders of the most powerful guilds. Kagura says that he's a bit confused, wanting to know why they are so focused on closing those portals. Ogo replies that if they had already found something, they would share the information, and Sherry says the same for her. Diaclass says that, obviously, almost no one would be sharing information there since losing a portal like that to another guild meant losing money and work. Shikiri says she wouldn't act that way because she doesn't have a small mind like his. Then Takashima tells them to stop with the jabs and asks Kureha if they discovered anything. The monk says there's something strange. The portals were appearing more and more frequently, and the interval between each one is getting shorter. People are kind of staring at each other, and Ogwai then says that for now, they can still contain them. Sherry, however, already warns that at the pace things are going, there might come a time when they won't be enough to handle all of it. Takashima says that if that happens, it'll be another portal breach and another catastrophe. Karuna says that's not even the only problem. For some reason, the creatures that have been appearing recently are stronger than ever. If a catastrophe like that happened, the scale would be even greater since the monsters are stronger. Takashima says that things aren't looking good, and they need to find a solution for this soon. Right then, Kagura adjusts his glasses and says that this is the perfect moment to bring in some slightly fresher talent. The guy agrees and wants to know how the training of the future members of the academies and guilds is going. That old man in the tie named Tsushima is the director of Valkyria Academy, and he says that this year they have several interesting candidates. Very soon, the re-evaluation would happen, and they could see it all. Sherry says she's interested, and Kagura wants to know if there's anyone he should keep an eye on. Tsushima says definitely Shizuku Minace and Saki Shirahane. The expectation is that the performance of the two would be incredible. Shizuku had a relic that allowed her to freely control life energy, while Saki's relic could easily generate explosive energy. Oga comments that when it comes to destructive power, the two seem very promising, and Sherry is already interested in recruiting Shizuku for herself. Kagura, however, wants to know if there isn't anyone else interesting. He wants to find someone with strong defensive abilities. Tsushima asked why, and he says that in his guild, they are needing someone like that. The problem is, it's hard to find that kind of candidate. But then he smiles and says that the son of the person who used to hold that position studies at this academy, some guy named Hinata Sahi, who wants to know if he's still there. Sherry says that name sounds familiar, and Kariya comments that if he's not mistaken, that's the one who got naked during the exams. Tsushima says, yes, he's still at the academy. And then Kagura comments that he doesn't get it. He heard that the boy has a relic with no ability at all. Why doesn't he just give up instead of keeping on insisting and suffering like that? Tsushima, however, just says that maybe he's wrong. Maybe Hinata is someone who's going to surprise everyone. With that, we arrive at the day of the revaluation. There's the reporter introducing everyone, saying the energy there is amazing. That year's exam would take place directly at Valkyria Academy, and everyone would enter a D-rank portal that appeared unexpectedly. Sherry's up above keeping an eye on things, saying that as always, it's really busy. It was even strange to see how everyone was so calm, considering this was an exam from which numerous students would come out injured or even dead. The director replies that he believes this is one of the few forms of distraction nowadays and thanks her guild for having volunteered to take care of the security of the place. Sherry says it was nothing much and from afar already spots the thick-thighed blue-haired girl man saying that she looks pretty strong, just like the boy standing next to her. Since Sherry has been a guild leader for a long time, she can quickly see someone's potential. She glances to the side, sees the blonde guy with the crazy girl with the teddy bear, and sees the glutton, and right in the middle of all that, there's our boy, worn-out right man. The scene then switches to the D-rank portal known as the Distorted Garden. Inside, there's a girl holding a sword, shaking all over because, well, look at the size of that damn goblin man holding a student in each hand. This D-rank stuff nowadays is rough. Back in my day, D-rank was goblin and rabbit, and barely that. She screams in desperation about to get smashed, but someone rushes in and slices through. When she opens her eyes, the guys say it's a shame, but her team's exam ends there. Now she can go with them who will escort her to the exit. On the screen, everyone is watching excited, saying the matches are thrilling. Besides that, it was impressive how the people handling security were rank S and could easily eliminate those monsters. The rules of this challenge were pretty simple. As soon as you enter the portal, you have to start earning points. The easiest way was to enter the portal, kill the creatures, and collect mana stones. It was also possible to earn points by looking for items, resources, minerals, herbs, and all that. That was the only way for students who didn't have many combat abilities to pass. Besides that, teamwork was also evaluated. The guy tanked the goblin's attack with his shield, and his twin brother immediately followed up with an arrow shot. The total time would be 60 minutes, and the presenter wants to know who they think will shine this year. While all of that is going on, there are our boy and Akane off to the side. Man. She says she doesn't know why, but she's feeling kind of down. Our boy asks why. She says it's weird. They are going in there to risk their lives against those creatures to be evaluated, but for everyone out here, it's just a reality show or something like that. She takes out her lollipop and asks if that really doesn't make him angry in any way. Before Hinata can respond, Takayuki shows up saying he must be enjoying it since now he's the center of attention. The kids ask what he means by that, to which Takayuki says he needs to stop being an idiot. Everyone's talking about his revaluation online. They are anxious and dying to see how the one of hero is going to humiliate himself this time. Kanata doesn't care much about the provocation man, just gives him a bit of a stare. Akane asks if he came all the way there just to say something like that, and the bastard replies that he was just walking around and ended up seeing the two of them. He slaps him on the back and tells him to relax a bit. It was an important day for everyone there, so they had to keep a friendly atmosphere. While he's being annoying, our boy glances over and notices Hagen off the side looking discouraged. At that moment, the presenter calls everyone's attention and says the second exam is about to start. It's theirs next, and Takayuki says it's time for him to shine. He waves goodbye to our boy saying he'll see him there. Hakan seems to hesitate for a second, thinking about telling something, but just closes his eyes and runs off. Akane finds it strange, wondering what that guy is thinking. Our boy doesn't say anything, and with that, we are already on the stage. A guy in front of the portal asks if they're ready. Once the exam starts, it'll be a life or death situation. In case of emergencies, they could trigger that device, and the Gildan would come to the rescue. And with that, they could begin. Man. Everyone's already inside the portal, rushing in. In the chat, everyone's hyped about the blonde baddie, right man? Wondering what she's going to pull off. Everyone's anxious to see how much they've improved since admission. That's when they see the yellow outfit, right, my dude. Obviously, everyone recognizes it right away, but some noticed that the outfit looked a bit different. The copyright got left behind. Portico and they are all sure she must be a weirdo to have agreed to team up with a crazy guy like that. Our boy, however, looks to the side and is already face to face with an ogre. Everyone in the chat is sure it's over for the two of them. The monster lets out a roar, comes in to punch, slams the ground. But when the smoke clears, boom, a hit to the belly man. Our boy had already switched to the red suit man. Meanwhile, the bastard, Kagura, is watching, looking uninterested. I'm already tired of him. But when he saw the kids cheat, he got all impressed. Right, man. Seems like everyone outside went a little quiet. Meanwhile, the damn thick-thighed blue-haired girl is just there making faces while watching. Sherry comments that it's the first time she's seen someone with a relic that can change forms like that. Tsushima, however, notes that she doesn't seem very surprised, to which she replies that everyone called him a weak, useless kid and laughed at him for insisting despite not having any talent. But she knows Tsushima and knows that is cruel to those who truly have no talent or willpower. He didn't have any potential, he wouldn't even be in Class E. That's why after Tsushima's comment in the meeting, she was already expecting that he'd have something special to show. No student who hasn't been expelled from the academy would be useless. With that, the ogre goes down on his back. And, man, our boy focused all the strength into his fist when all red got up, rushed in, and boom, another direct hit to the chin. Meanwhile, Akane is firing her wind bullets, right, even though this damn thing hasn't done a single point of damage the whole series so far. At least she distracts it, calls out to our boy, who comes flying in from the moon man. Now, yeah, he smashed its head. With that, the creature dissolves and goes to collect the mana stone. When he reaches for it, he remembers to touch it with his other hand. Right? Because if he touches it with his dominant hand, it'll be absorbed by the suit. He thanks Akane for the support, who says his punch wasn't bad at all. Meanwhile, the damn Takayuki is just spying from behind the trees, seething with rage. Akane already says they had a really good start, and she's got good feeling about this. Our boy is realizing that the rage fist is better than he thought. All he has to do is focus all the suit's power into one part and strike full force. That was one of the abilities unlocked along with the rage shoot, and is realizing that is evolving really fast considering he can't even use that thing for very long yet. At that moment, a canyon tells him to look behind. There's a 30-meter mosquito coming. Finally, her bullet does something and the creature drops to the ground. Just because I criticized it. Damn. I say something and they fix it. Right? Damn it. The girl even brags saying her aim's pretty good. And he says, yeah. Already remembering that on the days he comes to train, man, she's been practicing a lot too. No wonder she's hitting the shots. She's just missing doing more damage. Right? Wanna see? Now the group of goblins is coming. Let's see how much damage she does. He charges forward, running, and she fires the first shots. Ah, damn it. Just because I said it again. She took down 2 goblins. Damn girl. At least our boy is the one who will have to take care of the last one, man. Rage fist. And he bent the guy's club. Smashed his head along with it. What the hell, man? Slammed him to the ground. Our boy walks over calmly, picks up the crystal, and is confident that just with those 2, it's already enough to at least not fail the exam. Akane is excited and he says that at this pace, they might actually do better than he expected. The academy won't have a choice but to improve their evaluation. Meanwhile, Takayuki is arriving at the group, and Hagen asks what's wrong. But he's seething with rage, starts cursing our boy every name in the book while beating the tree man. He wants to understand how that bastard, who was just a piece of trash, managed to beat an ogre. He's sure it's because of that damned Akane giving support, or actually, he's not really sure about that. The guy is suffering alone there, a man. Takayuki is angry because he thinks Hinata has always been holding back just so he wouldn't have to beat him, which in his eyes means our boy is the most arrogant of them all. Then he says they are going back to the original plan. Hagen hesitates, but is immediately grabbed by the neck. And Takayuki asks if he's got any problem with that. Of course, the idiot just says no, pulls away, and grabs his weapon, kind of hesitating. Till now, I still don't know what Hagen does, but he coats his weapon with some liquid. Takayuki's original plan was to lure that goblin toward Hinata to eliminate him right away, but that didn't work out. And, obviously, now that they won, he had no choice but to move on to the second part. All he's going to do is lure the boss of that area directly to the 2 of them. Now for some Hagen background. Watching TV with a dream just like Minoria's, wanting to be a hero like the cool ones on TV. Problem is, man, he's not the protagonist of this story, and his dreams were shattered before they could even begin. What he got was a relic called Theft Factor, an item that allowed him to extract the essence of living organisms, which let him create some pretty unique potions. The problem is, on his own, he was completely useless. That relic wasn't made for attacking. And because of that, he ended up in a legendary Class E. To avoid getting bullied and maybe move up in ranks, he started teaming up with people who had strong offensive abilities. At least that was the excuse he used to avoid getting beaten up. He felt bad seeing Hinata getting beat, but at the same time, he felt relieved that it wasn't him. In that class, as weak as he was, at least there was Hinata, someone even weaker, who took all the hate. But the boy never gave up, right man, and somehow, he managed to grow stronger. The person he thought was the weakest ended up evolving enough to not have to take it from anyone anymore, while he, on the other hand, was still just following Takayuki around as slave. Hinata worked hard, got stronger, and now all he felt was rage when he looked at him. And that's why he did this, man. Takayuki threw a strange liquid onto his hand and slapped it onto our boy's back. Hagen seems to regret it, but now it's too late, isn't it, you bastard? One of the guys in the group with a glove stretches out his arm and a drone starts flying overhead. Right away, Takayuki says the rest is up to him now. He better not mess this up. The attack hits the boss right in the belly and it lets out a roar. Takayuki compliments him, saying that this unit really reacts quickly. That berserker pheromones seem to work pretty well. Any creature injected with it would attack the people who were marked as the targets of the potion. He didn't think it would work even on the boss of that area. But while Takayuki is saying that, Hagen repeats to himself that he shouldn't be doing something like this, which is making the bastard even angrier, the damn guy who pulled the trigger, and now he's acting all dramatic. If he were really someone with any morals, he wouldn't have accepted being pressured into doing this in the first place. He hates how Hagen acts like a victim, even though he's just as guilty as he is. Damn it. I'm going to have to agree with him now. Yeah. Seriously, the villain is right. He gives a little smirk, turns around, and says they are leaving. Hagen asks what he means by they are leaving. Man, Takayuki says it's obvious and throws the liquid on him, saying that now all the evidence was left behind. Man, before Hagen can understand what just happened, the boss is already there smashing down on his back, and a tree gets destroyed. He asks why, and Takayuki says it's obvious. The school will definitely ask why the boss left the gate and came near a place like this. To make sure they can't find out, he had to erase the evidence. Someone's about to say something, man, but Takayuki just says it's better to run. Especially since the second that boss catches him, he's dead. Right then, Hagen tries to reach into his pocket to grab the device to call the guilds for help, right man. But, of course, the bastard had already snatched it from his chest when he got close. The poor guy realizes that the bastard had planned to get rid of him since the beginning. The problem is, he doesn't have time to get rid of the scent that attracted the boss. Looks like he only has one potion. He thinks about using something on himself, then thinks he's crazy. It's a blood vessel or something, man. I don't even know what happened. But we're back with our boy who just took down another goblin. Akane praises him, saying that at this rate, they'll at least advance to Class D. When suddenly, he feels something coming his way, and boom, a flying kick. Damn it. Someone threw a white liquid that hit all over his body and face. He's wiping himself off, asking what kind of weird stuff is this, and in front of him is the rectagon. Actually, that wasn't the liquid that makes someone be hunted. It's the one that neutralizes the scent. And he falls to the ground saying that at least now Hinata won't be hunted. Hinata's about to ask what's going on, seeing him all beaten up, but he just tells the two of them to get back. And, man, while being attacked by the boss, he says that this is the end of the line for him. But, of course, right folks, 1 + 1 = 2. Our boy activates the suit and jumps in to shield him. But even with the suit activated, he gets smacked away from a distance. Our boy asks if he's okay, and Hagen says yes, but wants to know why he jumped in to protect him like that. To which our guy says it's because they don't know if this is really the end for him or not, and is not the type to give up on things. Meanwhile, on the outside, everyone's kind of confused about the situation. They were sure that Trio wouldn't stand a chance against the boss of that area. Sherry immediately gives the order, telling them to get in there and help the boy before they all die. A chimera like that, classified as rank C2, would be impossible for them to beat. She then notifies Tsushima that for a creature like that to be there, someone set something up. A portal boss never leaves its position unless something strange attracts it. That's because if the crystal it protects is destroyed, the whole portal collapses. Tsushima puts a hand to his face and says he knows that very well. He never thought a student would do something so careless. He can't tell who would go to such an extreme like this. He's sure Hagayan must be involved, but it also seems like he was one of the tricked ones. For now, all he hopes is that Hinata keeps them safe until help arrives. The chimera is roaring our boy's direction while Akane is there, legs shaking all over. Our boy might be face to face with the boss, but she was sure the chance of all three of them dying there was very real. Our boy is there, man, grabs the full Hagen by the collar while dodging and throws the bastard far away. The problem is, it looks like our boy's whole body is trembling just from defending a single attack. From the amount of aura coming off that creature, he knew that thing was completely out of his league. But even so, he wasn't going to give up, man. And he charges in, bro. Dodges another swipe, pulls his shoulder back, and lands a clean hit on the creature's chest. But the chimera just laughs and tail whips him in the stomach, bro. Poor guy crashed into a tree and hit the ground foaming at the mouth. Akane goes to help, he pushes her away, telling her to get back. Yeah. Because of her, now he took another tail whip to the belly. He's all twitchy with the ants circling around, okay. But he's getting back up, at least. Meanwhile, Hagen is wondering why Hinata won't just give up already. It's because if he gives up, he dies. Right, man. He'll be eaten. Then Akane says it'd be better if they ran. That was a creature completely out of their reach. Our boys, they are thinking that there's no way he can beat that thing. Maybe he could deal some good damage if he used the vengeance skill, but even that wouldn't be enough to bring it down. So what is he going to do? Once again, Hagen yells at him to stop with this. Everything was his fault, so it'd be better if he just left him there and got out. As long as our boy didn't provoke the monster anymore, Hagen would be the one it chased. While I'm just watching, the bastard beats his chest and yells for the chimera to come get him. Man, the boss listens and charges at him, but damn Hinata comes in again and nails it right between the heads. The problem is that it's a two-headed chimera, so the other head bites him while he's hitting the first one. Damn. There's Hagen helping him up again, telling him to give up. But no, man. Hinata gets up saying he's not going to run away. The fool wants to know why, and he says that all three of them are going to make it out alive. That's because the person he admires never abandoned someone who needed help, even if it meant risking their own life. If he ran away here and now, he'd lose the right to say he respects those ideals. Man, I'm actually starting to like Hinata. My fans over there getting emotional while our boy is dodging more tail swipes. Our boy is only defending so far, man, wondering how much longer Delbador's is going to take to arrive. Another attack coming in his face, Akane suffering, and he gets crushed. Meanwhile, from far away, there's that bastard, Takayuki, grinning like the damn Joker. And damn, with that, he completed a mission, and the condition for that mission was death. His reward was once again that guaranteed audience thing. In other words, our boy actually died, folks. He's already shown up in the sky. He's looking around all weird until someone says he finally showed up. Little smirk, she says she thought he was going to arrive earlier. Ah, damn. I thought she was going to be some friendly girl, but it's a child. Well, the person there who says they were waiting for their master. I'm getting more and more confused. He's just like me. Right? Wondering where he is, who that weirdo is, and what's going on. Looking at his hands, he's sure that a second ago, he was face to face with the portal boss. The child from the sky says that he had died. Or to be more exact, right now, he was between life and death. And the only reason he couldn't be considered someone who had already died is because he was summoned there. He's confused by this crazy girl who keeps teleporting all over the place, trying to figure out who this lunatic is. She says he doesn't need to have that scared and defensive look. That place was a mental world under her control, or rather, it was the mental world that existed inside the suit he possessed. He starts wondering if all this then is part of his relic. She forms a water sphere and shows it, man, showing that he was just about to be crushed and that he's in serious trouble. Actually, she kind of stopped time the second the attack was about to hit him in the face. Like, I saw the tail hitting the ground. Right? But let's say she went 5 seconds back in time there, and she says that if he moves his body to the side, he'll be able to dodge by a hair. Hinata asks if he was brought there for her to help him, to which she replies, yes, obviously. Out of nowhere, he pats her on the head and apologizes for doubting her. She slaps his hand away and tells him not to get so comfortable. Besides that, if he keeps acting the way he is, he's going to die soon. He'd better know that this was the first and last time she would help like this, because now she doesn't have any more power. He says he'll go back there, but doesn't know how he's going to deal with that situation. She tells him to come closer, that she'll give him a tip, and then stabs him in the eye. I thought it was just a prank, but she says she made an adjustment to his eye. Then she tells him he needs to learn to pick his enemies too. The creature he's fighting isn't one he stands a chance of beating. Not to mention he was being too direct in how he fights. In a hopeless fight like this, first, he should focus on understanding and making a good read of his opponent. The bastard is more worried about figuring out who she is exactly, why she's inside his relic. She smiles and says she's just a nameless traitor. Obviously, he still doesn't understand anything, but she says time's up. He starts sinking down into the ground and tells her to wait, saying there's still a lot he wants to know. But she only says that the stronger he gets, the more answers he'll find. But first, he'd have to pass this test. And maybe he should start asking himself why humans received those weapons known as relics. And also, who was responsible for bringing the war to Earth. The poor guy is asking for answers, but instead is just getting new questions. While he sinks, he asks himself why she's doing this. The girl only smiles and says she'll be seeing him again soon in Adasahe. Right then, our boy opens his eyes and the tail smash explodes into the ground. Akane is on her knees thinking he died, man. But from the middle of the smoke, a silhouette appears and she already smiles. The rascal dodged it, pulled a Cirque du Soleil move, and landed smoothly on the ground. Once again, Akane says it's better for him to run before it's too late. But he says, no, man. I want to know. Where are those damn people from that Deldora's guild, man? They coming by cartwheeling. Meanwhile, the minions just staring, eyes shining, man. The Chimera jumps out from the smoke to grab with both arms, but he just steps back. Akane is surprised. Even the Chimera looks a little confused. It tries to strike again. He pulls back, 2 more attacks come, and he keeps dodging. Suddenly, it looked like his eye had become really sharp, says Akane. An attack from the right, he slips out. Another from the left, he's out again. It's not that he was reading the movements exactly, but that he was sensing the monster's malicious intent, he says. Even so, he was terrified because he had just gone through a near-death experience. But for that same reason, he could now clearly read the enemy's movements. He's preparing a punch when those damn Deldoris folks finally arrive, saying go save him already. But they stop the moment they see Takayuki there, sweating and in disbelief. After taking all that damage, Hinata activated Vengeance and charged in man. The Chimera came in for another hit, but he slipped out of its claw, pulled his arm all the way back, and along with Vengeance, he activated the Rage Fist. Landed a blow right in the boss's ribs. The Chimera even stuck its tongue out. Mid-punch, he gave the fist a twist and slammed it into the ground. Man, everyone outside is watching all of this. Sherry's all twisted up while Tsushima is smiling. In the chat, obviously everyone's confused, right man? Saying that was epic. Obviously, everyone who had been posting against the boy is now in disbelief. They thought the kid was already dead. Even his sister is watching from the hospital, which to be honest, I had forgotten if she even existed. Meanwhile, the thick-thighed blue-haired girl isn't there, right, man? Her friend is impressed. Now it makes sense why his friends back there didn't get beaten up. Things have gotten a lot more interesting. And man, the camera starts to disappear. Problem for our boy is that, obviously, now he's so drained, he can't even maintain the basic form of his suit. Akane runs over to help. Hagen does the same, while the fool is just seething behind the trees. Once again, he can't understand how that damn brat got stronger out of nowhere in the middle of the fight. His buddy next thing a man already says he warned him that the plan was terrible. Now that Hagen survived, he tell a whole school. Takayuki, however, says they are going to move forward. If the info leaked, it'd be over for them, so they have to finish off the three of them right then and there. But his friend seems a bit hesitant, saying he doesn't think that's the best option. Looks like he's scared of our boy. Takayuki grabs him by the collar and asks if he really wants to be exposed. But, movement, they got caught on 4K recording. The folks from Sherry's guild recorded everything and sent it to her. She says they've now found out who the careless one behind all this was and immediately gives the order to have them arrested. The director though, Man, says he wants to see how things end. If he rushed to judge the situation the wrong way, it would only grow resentment in that person. If that happened, the boy would keep acting that way for the rest of his life. Sherry asks that he's trying to teach the kid a lesson, so he realizes the mistakes he made. Takashima says yes, and she says the chances are slim. The student with the strange outfit had reached his limit and didn't even have his power activated anymore. Tsushima's wild man says that sometimes they get involved and things go out of control, but he's got a feeling it'll all work out. The guy with the glove there seems to use a power to disable the drone in the area, and right then, Takayuki says their chance has come. The guy runs straight in crazy toward our boy with that psycho look in his eyes, almost crying. Hinata pulls his friends behind him, and the bastard comes in shouting that he's going to blow his head off and lands a clean punch. The smirk obviously vanishes the moment he sees that our boy blocked it calmly with one hand. The idiot grits his teeth and activates his move with his other hand, tries to throw another punch, sends a combo. But Hinata is just dodging Man. Bro, the kid ducks under his arm and lands one straight to the nose. The poor guy gets up with red paint coming out of his nose. That's it. Hinata walks up, asking if he isn't the one behind all of this. Grabs him by the collar. Time to say that this time, he went way too far. Takayuki though, Man, just grins like a maniac and tries to land another one. But our boy doesn't even defend himself. Man just grabs him by the collar and headbutts him. Our boy pins him to the ground and says that in the end, he never stops making immature decisions. That's why he never even bothered wasting energy fighting him. At that moment, Takayuki starts thinking that maybe all this time he'd been beating Hinata up, the kid was already stronger than him. He decides there's no way he's believing something like that and charges in one more time. Only to take a stomach remover punch. Man, everything came out. The poor guy's face is on the pavement while our boy says using a relic on him would be a waste. He wasn't even worth the suit's strength. Man. His friend is just off to the side watching it all, while Sherry says that now it's resolved. Tsushima says yes. This clearly separated those who worked hard from those who didn't. The re-evaluation exam had been a success. One day after the exam, everyone's there in the hallway all chill when someone walks by and grabs everyone's attention. Right? It was our boy, nicely accompanied by Akane as always. She asks why it felt like everyone was staring at them. As far as she remembers, the last time they passed through there, they were being criticized. Apparently, people's expressions had changed, which proved they were a bunch of two-faced fakes. Our boy remembers Man. When he used to walk through the hallways, it was just a bunch of people staring and giggling. But now everyone's smiling, pretending to be friendly, right Man? Seeing that, Arching says that either way, he did it. Everyone was seeing him in a different light now. He smiled and said, yeah. But with that long blue hair, you already know who's showing up. They lock eyes for a second, and there's the damn girl Man. They stare at each other for a moment, and she says he wasn't that bad after all. She admits he wasn't as terrible as she thought, but that he'd better not think for even a second that she was impressed. And, Man, she just walks off saying that anyone from Classa would have beaten that monster without breaking a sweat. What the hell, girl? She didn't even say hi to you, total lunatic. Akane's like me, right, asking with that girl's problem. He tells her not to worry too much. She's always been like that. The truth is that was her way of giving a compliment. Meanwhile, the guy with the band down is just giving a peculiar little stare. Back in the dorms, Hagen's there packing his bags. Man. He received an expulsion letter, but he doesn't seem too shaken. Just says that's everything and wonders if he forgot anything. Door closed. He's leaving. Hinata finds him and asks if he's leaving just like that. He thanks our boy for being there and says he didn't want to leave without saying goodbye to him. Our boy says he doesn't really know what to say. Hagen replies that it's okay. He had already made peace with what happened and knew it was his fault in the end. His punishment was way lighter considering Takayuki got arrested for attempted murder. He, on the other hand, was just expelled, so he's not even going to complain. But seeing that our boy didn't look very happy, Hagen asks him not to make that face. He goes into his bag, grabs something, and says that just because he's leaving the academy doesn't mean he's giving up. He says this potion is a recovery one that he made using his relic. He showed it to the director who said his talent was actually pretty useful for a certain field, so gave him a recommendation letter. He always knew that being a warrior wasn't really his thing, but even so, he can contribute with the talent he has. and seeing our boy who never gives up, he realized he couldn't just sit there lamenting anymore either. Then he bows and thanks our boy, apologizing for everything. Our boy gives a little smile and shakes his hand wishing him good luck. Meanwhile, with the director, who says that this year's exam was actually pretty calm, the blonde secretary wants to know if he's sure it was calm, and he replies that he admits there were a few dangerous moments. But at the same time, it was an amazing match to watch. Even the guild masters seemed happy with how everything turned out, and Sherry left a note saying that she was interested in accepting that boy with the suit if he wanted to become an intern in her guild. The secretary says that's surprising. That woman rarely recruits anyone, to which the director replies that it just proves he left a great impression. From now on, the first-year students would be able to go to the front lines. The hard part for many though will be finding a guild that would accept them. The secretary says yes, but only if the person is above rank C. Hanada being rank E had no chance. However, after the re-evaluation, our boy is now Class B and Akane, Class C. And we are already there, Class 1B, everyone glancing backward. Obviously, our boy just entered another lion's den. Right, man. If before he was getting beat up by Takayuki, now it's time to find out who's going to beat him next. The poor guy though doesn't even care. He's already kind of used to it. At the same time, he still can't believe he actually made it to Class B just like that. There was a spot there that had a very different vibe. Everyone there seemed more focused and determined, talking about strategies about how to get stronger, very different from the conversations back in Class E. He better stay focused if he didn't want to get left behind. But here comes someone calling out to the newbie. The one with yellow braids wants to know what it feels like to move up and rank like that out of nowhere. Our boy, before making friends, tells the guy to say who he is first before coming and asking questions like that. And with that, Golden Braids introduces himself as Subaru Arakawa, who's been in Class B from the start, and he wants to ask our boy something. How did he manage to fool everyone, just because I asked who the villain of the week is? Here he comes. Hinata tells him to explain, and Subaru says things just aren't adding up. He's never heard of anyone going straight from Class E to Class B, and that's why everyone there is wondering if he's really skilled enough to be in that place or if he cheated. He slams the table and tells him to admit he was helped by the Deldora's guild. But the idiot is just embarrassing himself. Hinata is just looking at him, not caring in the slightest. The guy is still slamming the table, wanting to know why he's so calm, while our boy realizes he's met Takayuki 2.0. Sometime later, the teacher says that until the next year's re-evaluation, everyone there would stay in Class B, and he comments that he sees only a few unfamiliar faces. But the main point is that they need to understand that their true goal is to aim for Class A. To give them an idea, only one person moved up to that class, which makes it clear how big the difference in strength between the two levels is. And anyone who wants to catch the eye of a truly powerful guild needs to close that gap. Sumaru asked the teacher if he's not being too harsh. They weren't just sitting around doing nothing. It's just that the training portals weren't even good enough for real training. That's why he wants to know how they are supposed to improve. The teacher says that's a fair point, which brings him to today's topic. All students above Class C would receive temporary licenses that would serve as proof of the skill they had. Basically, they get access to portals in the real world, both rank D and rank C. On the other hand, they'd have to be accompanied by certified people or guilds with proper authorization. This was the new program happening in Valkyria, and the big advantage is that they could evolve away faster by fighting alongside stronger people from other guilds. At the same time, they had to know that this was extremely dangerous, almost deadly. A guild in the real world meant a real chance of dying at any moment. Our boy though is already looking a bit excited. During break time, here comes Akane. Right man. You thought she was gonna stop sticking to the boy. Never. She already wants to know how the vibe is in Class B and says she's not feeling like she'll fit in very well in that place. She says that for her, it was the same thing in Class C. Everyone saying she didn't belong there because she came from Class E. And like always, there was a guy just like Takayuki in her class. Guys like that man, apparently, they are in every class. Then she brings up the program to go into real dungeons. The perfect chance to not only earn school contribution, but also rewards and money. Our boy wants to know how much money she's talking about, to which she replies that obviously, it depends on the portal you go to, the guild you go with, and what you're going there to do. But at the very least, it'd be way better than the money they earned killing those training goblins. Hinata's excited. He's finally going to be able to earn real money even while still in school. That would already help him start getting money to support his mother who's still in the hospital. Not to mention that the training portals weren't all that useful anymore, and his suit was kind of stagnating. This in turn program would solve all his problems at once. He asked Square to sign up, and she says there's a board already up in a part of the school. Right away, he gets up saying he's going there, but she says he doesn't need to rush. It looks like they'll be accepting applications for a while before they start deciding who to take, and says they can go together after class today. Our boy smiles, says he got it, until he sees that damn blonde girl right there next to them, asking if she can come along too. No one's surprised, and accounting just asks what she's doing there out of nowhere. She explains that Class O is right next door, so she just passed by, saw the two of them, and came over. And she's impressed that, just like Haneda said, he managed to reach a high-ranking class. And now that he's there, there's nothing weird about them doing things together. She goes on to say they could even apply to the same guild, but he just says no way. Poor thing's sitting there, teary-eyed, wanting to know why not man. He responds that he wouldn't be able to train or learn anything if she's around. Sumeru is off to the side and realizes that this is Saki from Class A, one of the strongest students. So why is she getting close to those weirdos who just came out of Class E? But considering that this dungeon participation thing is coming up, the timing was perfect. He tried to go to the same place Hinata went and exposed his weakness. Saki is there tubbing on our boy, begging him to let her go with them like a little kid. And a little later after school, they remember, yeah, man, that all three of them registered. The damn girl never left his side. Atreya registered for a rank B guild called Elven. They were recruiting people for a rank D portal. The problem is they were only taking 3 people, and they missed their chance. When suddenly, a voice in the room asks if that's really what he should be worrying about. He looks back, and there she is again. Right? That damn one. She says that at his current level, you should be worrying more about not dying at the hands of anyone out there. He, however, is more focused on wanting to know why she's randomly in his room. She replies that it's a weird question. She already told him she lives inside his relic, so, obviously, if he's there with the relic, she's there too. He says no. That's definitely weird, especially because she said they'd meet again when he got stronger. She gets out of the bed and says that what she said was that she'd answer his questions once he got stronger. She never said he had to get stronger to see her again. Besides, his progress was going way too slow, so she came to check what was going on. Just like a relic can manifest out of nowhere and interact with the world, she was no different. Our boy, however, just keeps staring, asking her to finally say who she is. The damn girl says again that she already told him. She's a nameless traitor, but if he wanted a name to call her by, he could use Nanoshi. Apparently, Nanoshi in Japanese means something like anonymous or nameless. Right? So it's basically a name for someone without a name. Next day, Akane is asking if, like, there's something wrong. He says no, while Nanoshi is clinging to him. He says he'll ask one more time and teases her, asking if she doesn't see anything right there beside him. She gets startled, wanting to know what that crazy talk is. Is he surrounded by ghosts or something? He replies no, and that he was just messing with her. But it's already clear that he's like a RIP 2.0. Just like a player status window only appears to the user, she must work under the same principle. The damn Saki shows up already wanting to start a chat with the two, asking if they are always going to eat together. Before they can respond, she already sits down, and Akane is already saying that Hinata's acting weird and seems to be surrounded by ghosts. She makes a scared face while Hinata is trying to figure out what kind of weird group this is. Meanwhile, Nanoshi is right there, man, wanting to know when he's going to start training. She already warned that the level he's at is way too low, and if he doesn't start training soon, he'll get killed by just about anyone. Man, people are pissed that this damn girl spends 24 hours a day in his ear telling him to train. He tried to get some more information, but she only said that telling someone as weak as him wouldn't help at all. What he can't figure out is what her goal really is. Suddenly, the door opens and a guy says he finally found them. It's Mr. Takashima from Class E saying he's impressed that the 2 girls made it into Class B and C. The boy asks what's going on. Takashima hands a paper to both girls, saying it's his job to inform students who were accepted and deliver this. The 2 of them are glowing while he says that, obviously, this shows that the guild accepted their participation. Hinata, looking crooked, wants to know where his is right man, to which Professor Kinikari says he didn't make it man. They accepted another student from Class A instead. Seems like they are in need of a long-range support role rather than someone like him. Right away, Subaru says that if that's the case, he wasn't chosen either because he's not a support at all. Saki is about to apologize and say she won't be going, but the guy cuts in and says that if she doesn't participate in this one, she won't be able to take part in anything else for the next 6 months. She slams her face on the table, realizing she's got no choice, until Takashima calls for Hinata and tells him he's received a special offer, man. And look where it's from, Beldora's right, my boy, HIDA. But Nanoshi is just watching from the side. After school is always there, he is, back in the portals. The problem is that these goblins are way too easy now. Nanoshi immediately comments that at this pace, he's not going to get anywhere. Even the system notifies him that he can no longer absorb mana stones from hot goblins. Our boy realizes this place has now literally become useless to him. All he wanted was to increase his durability by 5 more points so he could use the power suit as long as he wanted. So he asks if there isn't some way for him to get stronger, to which she replies that the plans she has for him are way too dangerous. Any place she suggests would be a death sentence. Then she asks how his eyes are doing, the one she gave him, the ability that let him predict an enemy's next move. It was impressive. Only problem is that it barely lasts at all. Nana, she explains, is because his intelligence stat is way too low. He wants to know exactly what that attribute does, and she explains. It's the ability to materialize supernatural phenomena through logical reasoning. Ada, man, you already need to be smart. Just understand that. And since our boy's stat is low, he asks her to explain it properly. To sum it up, she says it's the power you need to use more magic and skills. That's it. He comments that he's heard of monsters that use magic, but had never seen humans do anything like that, since everyone fights using relics. She explains that under the right conditions, intelligence can manifest in any person. However, the abilities created through that intelligence vary from person to person. She sees that his intelligence stat is 5 and wonders how he can be so trash like that. Then she walks off and says that since that's the situation, there's only one method that'll help. He asks what method, and she says he's going to try his luck in a rank C dungeon. He needed to learn that his biggest problem is that he doesn't know how to fully use his skills. Man, she opens the portal right there with her finger, saying that if he truly wants to get stronger, all he has to do is step in. Our Mui hesitates for a second. Right, man? A portal in the real world. You go in, you die. Swallows hard, but walks toward it. As soon as he steps in, he finds himself in some kind of catacomb, like an abandoned place. But suddenly, a flash of light at the end of the hallway shines and bam, he takes his spear combo straight on. I think it's like a mental training or something. Right? Because it looks like he just died like an idiot. And that's when he found out that the pain he had felt up to now was nothing compared to the hell he was about to face. The next second, he wakes up on the floor of the previous dungeon, man, shaking all over, his hands twisted, asking why he's still alive. Nana, she explains that at the moment he crosses the portal she created, his real body stays outside and it's his consciousness that moves forward. The bad part is that, obviously, the body left behind is completely unprotected. The good part is that he doesn't die inside. He's mad, and she wants to know why he seems to think that's unfair. He had to understand that most deaths in the world followed logic that didn't make any sense. As soon as he crossed that portal, he should have been ready, man. As long as he thinks things are going to be predictable, he'll never get strong. He still doesn't really get the point of this training, and she says he should already know. Just like when he unlocked a rage suit, he has to reach certain conditions to unlock the next one. Our boy says he thought it was just about emotions to unlock the suit, to which she replies that, yes, that is one of the conditions. But, obviously, the suit doesn't evolve just because of his feelings. Then he asks if she's saying that to evolve it, he has to clear that portal no matter what. She replies that that's not quite it, but that portal would be the perfect shortcut. She says it's time for a change of scenery, man. And the next scene, he's face down on the floor of his room. She knows that for him to unlock the next suit, he has to prove the strength and determination he holds. Death by nature always carries a certain feeling of unfairness, and now it's time for him to prove he could survive it. Man is full on Dark Souls. Step on the floor, trapped from the ceiling opens, and he gets skewered from the ground up. Before the poor guy can get up, he sees the boulder coming and crushed. The boy wakes up in his room again, screaming in despair while she's just standing there looking at him all bored. A glance behind him, and off he goes again. But this time, he stops right in front. She asks if he's scared and warns that even if he is, he should dive in head first without hesitation. The people who stay in the fight, even when they're afraid of death, those are the ones the world calls heroes. Next morning, there's our boy walking the halls full of dark circles. Man, our boy's tough, but after that second death, he couldn't bring himself to go into the gate again. That's because back during the exam, he didn't know he was going to die, it caught him by surprise. But in those labyrinths, death was actually very real, and the pain and agony were way too realistic. Not to mention, after he hesitated, Nanashi vanished saying he was pathetic. Looking at his trembling hand, he knows that he won't actually die, but he still can't overcome the natural instinct to run from something like that. Sometime later, he knocks on the orientation room for the Deldora's Guild folks. Man, when he opens the door, look who's there. Thick-thighed and icy. It's her, Shizuku. Next to her is the little bandana punk, Kaido Hibashima. The blonde guy's name is Chloe Burgess, so we'll call him Burgess. And the girl with the teddy bear thing is Anko Kekken. Everyone there, man, all from Class A. Like that, and someone says they didn't expect to see the reject from Class E there. It's Subaru standing nearby, wanting to know why Deldora's accepted someone like him. Shizuku though laughs and says she's wondering the same thing about Subaru. Someone from Class B like him shouldn't even be there. The poor guy tries to defend himself saying that he's been in Class B since the beginning. So, technically, he's on the same level as the people there. But Anko just replies that that was his dream. If he really were on the same level, he would have moved up a long time ago. Subaru's pissed off because apparently this Anko girl used to be in Class B and managed to move up to A while the loser got left behind. She asks if Chloe agrees with her, and he just says he's not interested enough to have an opinion about him. The guy in front of him didn't even seem strong enough to be a good training partner. Stuber is over there yelling saying that he's not weak like that guy behind him, while our boy couldn't care less. Suddenly, our boy hears something, man, and in the blink of an eye, some attacks come flying. He seems to grab at his stomach, and Subaru hesitates. Burgess says that's why he doesn't stand a chance against someone from Class A. Looks like his ability is to control transparent knives. The guy's relic was called Phantom Dancer. League of Legends vibes, man. We got Budget Israel here, and he's surprised because our boy managed to grab one of his little knives. Right away, both he and the bandana guy are interested. Meanwhile, Shizuku's just dealing with our boy. She asks why he's shaking and sweating. Seems like she already figured out he didn't belong in that place and that it was pathetic. Our boy goes to say something, Sumaru too, but she just tells both of them to give up if they are not ready. Weaklings like that can only get in the way, man. Our boy tries to say something to defend himself, but the door opens and the teacher asks if everyone's there. Everyone goes quiet. He tells them all to sit, while the damn girl just keeps staring at our boy, who's there clenching his teeth in anger. All the details are given out, and a little while later, Ananda's back home already calling for Nanashi Man, saying he wants her to show up now and open that portal because he's diving in. She appears and wants to know what changed, what's up, where is that determination from? She opens the portal and asks if he got humiliated by that woman or what to be all fired up like this. The bastard answers that she was listening the whole time anyway. So why bother asking? Our boy's feeling awful, because when she said he wouldn't do anything besides get in the way, deep down, he kinda knows it's true. Right now, he doesn't have the strength to go head to head with those guys. He's just a coward. But no way was he gonna stand still after hearing someone say something like that about him. Now his determination was stronger than ever. No matter what happens, he's not giving up. And the system says that his courage triggered a secret reaction in his suit. Next chapter, and we are back in the mental dungeon. Our boy walks down the corridor until suddenly he has to dodge some spikes. He says he needs to keep his eyes more open and calculate his decisions even more. Everything in this place seemed to have a certain pattern and to move for a certain reason. The glow comes from up ahead. He already knows something's coming. However, at the same time, some kind of blue shooter appears on the side, man, and there's light shining from all directions. But the rascal manages to move forward, dodging the spear spikes, throwing a somersault. However, as soon as he backs up, two more come right at his face and he has to do the laser challenge there. Then a disc comes, my god, what is this? He stepped there and fell into the hole. Man, this thing is really hard. Isn't there any mob in this place for him to kill? And there he is. The boy gave up and went running on the court instead. It's easier. Life was not going well for the boy, but he rested and went back to the dungeon. He came back to the dead room after getting crushed by the rock again. He did push-ups with Manashi on his back. For God's sake, minus 15 years in jail for this boy, and he's back in the dungeon getting hit in the arms with a stick. But the boy resisted the pressure, now he's face to face with a gargoyle. Finally, a monster showed up for him to kill. He goes into land a punch, and in that moment, once again, he activates something on the suit for showing determination. He had acquired the abilities concentration and super reflexes. Concentration, guess what, right, lets him concentrate and beat super reflexes if you guess it. I won't even tell you. Next scene, it was the first day of the dungeon. But now, right, man in the real world. The netizens program over there was about to start, and the guys want to know who's buying all these boxes. A blonde guy named Jin Katsumata shows up and calls for the leader, saying that the preparations were almost complete. She says she got it and mentions that she seems to be in a pretty good mood and wants to know why. A sly one says it's because today, the Valkyria students would be joining them for the first time. And considering how much help they need, she's happy to know a bunch of people with potential are arriving. The guy asks if she's excited about the student Shizu, and she says yes. Besides her, there were a few other people who had caught her attention. Even the student who's always in a suit is coming. Katsumata wonders if that's the guy named Hinata. Last time he saw that kid, he didn't really seem to be all that good. Not to mention that, considering he had trouble against a Chimera, he must be the weakest person who's going to participate. But just then, Sherry says that they've arrived. Our boy's group arriving on the scene. Actually, it was the group that didn't wanna have our boy. The teacher says is leaving everyone in her care, and she thanks him. Right away, Shizuku comes over and bows. Yeah, that little wretch. When it's with the stronger ones, she comes full of respect. I wanna see when our little guy becomes the badass if you're still gonna be bowing to him. Ah, the sly one is just looking at our boy from the side there, all curious. That's when Sherry speaks, saying that as they had all been informed, they would be entering a rank C dungeon. That explains the formation of her guild, which is an incredible strategy. One in the front, one in the middle, and one in the back. Really, it's a flawless plan. 4 of the students would be part of the vanguard with her. The rest who came from Class B would stay in the middle guard along with the others. The mission today was to kill the boss and seal a portal, which means everyone has to pay close attention. Besides that, she wants to make it clear that this wasn't some academy test. This year was a real dungeon. Her guild would try to protect them as much as possible, but they'd better be prepared because anything could happen. Shizuko comments that she didn't imagine a guild as strong as Deldora would still attack rank C portals, to which Sherry explains, of course, they do. Their mission is to protect the citizens from the portals so that everyone can live in peace. Besides, there are rules that define which guild gets which portal, and once that's decided, there's nothing they can do. Of course, she knows there are other guilds that prioritize money and reputation instead of duty. But Kuril wasn't one of those, and she's glad his granddaughter is there. The Gothany thanks her, and with that, it was time to enter. Katsamada calls the 2 dummies and says they're going with him. He already tells our boy it's best if he doesn't wander off and stays real close. Otherwise, well, he might end up dying. And Subaru out of nowhere comes in with a little shoulder bump, saying it's best our boy doesn't slow him down. We were already enemies and now he wants to act all friendly. Get out of here. He asks if Katsamada is always on the middle line and he replies no. This was a special situation to protect the 2 of them. Even though the vanguard would deal with the creatures in front, at any moment, a rank C1 monster could attack us. And that's why, once again, he's warning them to stay alert. The creatures that Guy mentioned are rank C1, and our boy knows that the Chimera he fought was rank C2, which means the average level of creatures in there is lower than the one he already managed to beat. Of course, he still has to stay sharp because fighting one monster is completely different from fighting a dozen. And with that, we enter the portal and already appear in the desert, rank C, the challenge of the starving beasts. As soon as they enter, there are already a dozen crystals on the ground that the vanguard had cleared. Subaru looks out toward the horizon, wanting to know how they killed so many things. And my god, there goes Hinata messing up again. Equipped the suit, ran out, and kicked a rock for no reason. Actually, he was defending because a big monkey was already approaching from the side. Katsamada says those cannibal monkeys are way too clever and probably already knew weaker people were arriving. He pulled out his sword, activated the 15 grams of muscle he has and launched a slash from a far man. The 2 dummies were so scared he didn't even have to get close. Then he gives the order for the rest of the group to keep an eye out and see if there are more monkeys. However, watching our boy, he's impressed. The creature wasn't even in their field of vision. Nobody had noticed the monster except the badass himself. What he doesn't get is how the boy sensed the presence the second he entered. The kid might really be something interesting. Meanwhile, in a Ragsy portal in the city of the drowned spirits, some trees with octopus roots are advancing And look who's there, guys, Akane. The miracle in this story, the author's showing what the side characters are up to. But out of nowhere, a purple laser passes by her and the creature is blown up. Yeah, right? She got trolled, man. That Sachi girl went along too. And now what is she going to do about forming up? Hinata really is making the right choice, not taking this crazy-headed girl along. Akane comes over to scold her, wanting to know why the attack passed so close. Seriously, 1 step to the side, and she would have taken it. But Saki just ignores it, tells him to finish this already and go home. Poor Akane. All she's got left is the lollipop. Just like Kanata had warned, she's not getting any chance to practice with her relic, and now she's wondering if at least she's managing to train a little bit with whatever she's doing. Girl, don't even doubt it and take this kick to the chest. Little monkey comes in to punch. He dodges. Another guild guy tanks the hit. Haneda pulls up with a rage-fueled punch and smacks the other one on the head, and the little thing goes spinning. Man. The guy next to him compliments him, saying he's not bad at all. Meanwhile, Subaru's just watching, must be all jealous. Wondering how the guy who was the weakest in Class E can move like that. Apparently, he really did belong in Class B. While Subaru, who's been in Class B for ages, hasn't done a single thing in this damn dungeon. Fed up, he activates his sword, jumps in, and blows up the monkey's chest, saying there's no way he was gonna let Anada take all the glory from this. His relic was a kind of gun blade. And doesn't that remind you? Reminds you of that series we saw, the one with the kid from the Yggdrasil cube. Isn't that weapon just like his? And he says he's going to show how it's done. From that alone, Katsamada is already thinking that even the 2 of them have more potential than he imagined. That Subaru guy seemed a little hot-headed, but his offensive ability and energy were high level. Hinata, on the other hand, had no durability whatsoever, but he knew very well how to position himself in battle and was very alert. Not to mention his reaction time, that was the most impressive thing, man. Our boy already warns them that another pack of monkeys is coming, and Katsamata can't understand how this kid is spotting monsters before he does. The little monkey grabs a solid rock and throws it at our boy's back, but he dodges, and the one who takes it is the other guy, right in the chin, elbow to the gut, and another one coming from behind Katsamata, who cuts one down and keeps his eye on our boy. He's falling in love, man. Then we see that devil Nana, she had said she give him a few tips. She shows him a frog and asks what's the first thing he feels when he sees that. He answers that, obviously, he feels that if he got attacked by that, he'd end up hospitalized from the poison. She says that conclusion is the exact meaning of instincts. And if he wanted to survive the portals, he needed to have sharper instincts than anyone else. The ability to sense danger always started with strange and small sensation about things around you, and you had to train to pick up on even the tiniest reactions. He hears something approaching and already jumps to dodge the monkey man. Mid-air, there's a rock coming, but the rascal gives it a flying kick. What the heck? Man, the boy really is the badass. One of the guys nearby takes note, calls out to Katsamata, and says there were too many monsters, considering the vanguard had already passed through. The blonde guy is a bit confused too. There really were too many monsters, considering that area was supposed to be cleared. He knows it's impossible that Sherry missed that. There were fewer than 10 people in the country with a 5-star relic, and she was one of them. Then there's a guy with a sniper aiming at him. What? Man, the guy was about to shoot, and our boy stepped in front, threw a rock, and broke the guy's aim. The real aid of the Pukit wasn't on point today, man. The guy already took off. Katsamata asked what happened, and our boy said someone was aiming at him. And the worst part, man, it was a person, not a monster. Right away, the leader is wondering if it might be some kind of dungeon criminal. He finds it strange that they'd be targeting a rank as guild. Right? They must have a death wish. But once again, he's impressed with the little badass who noticed something like that. So he says his life was saved thanks to our boy. There's no way a rank as hunter would die from a sniper shot, man. You guys are really worn out, yikes, man. Right at that moment, a guy shows up asking for help, saying that the guild master was in danger. Confused, he asks what the situation is and what's going on. And there she is, Shizuka, just waiting for a skin-tight suit hero to come save the Y-face. But before that, let's go back 30 minutes earlier when they entered the dungeon and Sherry said she'd explain everything. The Vanguard's job, obviously, was to go ahead and clear safe paths for the rest of the team. They would spread out as much as possible, but at the same time, keep enough distance to still communicate. Shizuko quickly asks, right, if that doesn't seem a little dangerous. To which Sherry replies, that's how they deal with a rank C portal. One step forward, the creature comes to breathe on her, but she just raises a shield and with a flick of her hand, tears the creature apart along with a bunch of monkeys that were mid-man. She even says that she alone was enough to handle a rank of portal. The students are all trembling while the bandana guy is thinking that, just like the rumors said, she was a monster. The portal monkeys are all shaking, and she says she'll leave those ones for them to deal with. A little while later, Shizuko and the rest of the group had killed a few, but she already noticed that these rank C creatures were way more dangerous than rank D. Sherry says they actually have pretty good potential and asks if the goth Annie from the deep web isn't going to do anything. Anko explains it's because of her relic. She can't do anything until she absorbs human stones from creatures they already defeated. Sherry says she can go get one then, and she says okay and goes to grab it, kinda agitating. As soon as it's in her hands, the stone is absorbed and turns into a monkey plushie. Sherry seems impressed that the girl can reanimate a defeated creature. Even though the copy probably wouldn't be as strong as the original, it would still help a lot to increase the number of members in the group. She's just interested, saying she can't decide who's the best pick. Meanwhile, the real one was there with his sniper marked and says that she's in his sights. But when he was watching the girl, suddenly he trembles and she shoots a look man. From far away, she noticed a tiny movement and he got shredded. What the heck, girl? What power is that? She even says he was pretty amateur in the end since she felt his bloodlust. But then another crew shows up and everyone starts shooting. But now she just raises some barriers and that's it. She tells everyone in the group to take cover and starts sending messages. The problem is that the communicators aren't working, so she tells the guy in the group to go call for help from the others. Shizuko, with her 33 IQ, asks what's happening, and Sherry has to explain they've been ambushed. Everyone's hiding while the leader thinks this doesn't make any sense. Normally, bandit guilds, right, wait for the team to finish the dungeon and then steal everything they got. But they are being attacked right from the start, and not only that, the bullets seem like real ammo, not relics. That wouldn't cause much damage, but on the other hand, they were already surrounded by monkeys. She immediately realizes that bastards had some way of controlling the monsters, and she tells them right away, and they were going to have to deal with those creatures. While she's defending and Shizuko is cutting, the leader knows those guys are going to realize real soon they don't stand a chance. Whoa, man. But that's when something starts showing up under her arm. The Emmy leader gives a command, and at the same time, everyone fires, and some roots grab Sherry by the feet. Whoa, man. She got immobilized for a second, and something hit her hand. Oh, damn. Her relic mark disappeared. At the exact moment, the monkey tries to jump, and she tries to use magic. Obviously, nothing happens. But don't worry. The thick-thighed Ice Queen arrives slashing. She asks if Sherry's okay, thanks her for saving her life, and tells everyone to start protecting their hands before their relics get deleted. Another guy with a spearman is trying to hold the line but tells the leader that is not gonna last much longer. The group starts running, saying they'll have to regroup. But the guy with glasses in the back says they're not getting away that easy. Man, he fires off an explosion. I thought it was a fireball or something, but apparently it was more like a bazooka blast. And the guy says that with the relic cancelled, she's nothing more than a human, so there's no way she can survive that. The shot's about to hit, which means, yeah, man, someone's about to activate a skill and rush in to tank it. When she looks back, of course, it was our boy who tanked it, man. He already activates his eye power and detects the presence of 15 shooters. He needed to deal with this fast before the vengeance ability ran out. He punches the ground, which starts exploding and sends smoke up everywhere. Immediately, the enemy leader with no vision says they don't have a choice. It's best everyone get ready. Sherry, hiding behind some rocks, thanks the boy and says at least he bought them some time. She asked why he's alone, and he explains that he used some abilities to rush over and get there ahead of everyone. The only problem is now he can't use that same ability again. The cursed Shizuko then asks why he took that risk. Yumu should just tell her to shut up, but instead, he says it was the leader, Katsumata, who gave him the order to go ahead since he's the fastest runner. Sherry knows that guy wouldn't give an order like that unless he trusted the boy, which shows he must have improved even more since the last time she saw him. Finally, he asks why the hell she's complaining if she got saved. She kinda hesitates and says it's true. But either way, she's sure that in the end, he's just going to get in the way. Oh my god. I already miss a caveman. Sherry's watching that and thinking she's finally starting to understand. Then she tells Shizuko not to say stuff like that. She couldn't use her relic, and they needed someone like Kanata around to give them an edge. Our boy asks why she doesn't use the relic, and she explains the story behind the weapon. At that, he asks his system. Right? Asks Nanashi what's the deal, why the boss lady isn't able to use her relic. She explains that he doesn't need to speak. Just thinking is enough for her to know what is imagining. And with that, she looks through the orb and says she really couldn't feel any relic energy coming from that woman. Her relic chest, which is something you develop when you touch a relic stone, was empty. And, man, her relic hadn't been deactivated. It had been stolen from her. There was no mana that could reactivate it unless she got it back. While Nanashi is impressed that humans managed to develop something like that, our boy is shocked. The guy in the green bandana wants to know what they are going to do and asks if anyone has a big idea. Sherry replies that for now, it's best they just stay where they are and wait. Meanwhile, Katsumata is coming up behind the shooters. An explosion goes off from atop the mountain and apparently, the suckers got hit. Right away, he gives the order for everyone to arrest them all, kill them all, and make them regret it. Sherry smiles and says she knew she could count on the second in command. She immediately tells everyone to protect the marks on their hands because the enemies had some way of disabling relics. It's chaos all over, punches flying while Shizuko is just there hiding, man. But suddenly, she jumps in fright as two of her groupmates get nearly torn in half. The guys fall to the ground and Katsumata turns around confused. Two air discs are coming at him and he has to defend, man. While wondering why these guys have an ability that belonged to Sherry, someone then says that he really lives up to his name. He didn't expect him to withstand the attack of a 5-star relic. Man, the guy is just standing there blocking both discs, and right then, Sherry recognizes it. To her, though, that was impossible. He shouldn't be with them. That's when Katsumata comments that they are doing more than just sealing relics. The guy in the classes replies that even if he's the second in command, there's no way to block an attack like that. A bunch more discs come, but Katsumata says he's not stopping there. He dodges everything, closes in on the guy, but just as the sword is about to land, another guy jumps in front and blocks it. When our boy sees that shield, though, he seems to know who it belongs to. The bandit man pulls out a pistol and says, "This is the end of the road." The guy has to tank a bullet with his sword, and my god, I've never seen a hunter getting beat up so bad by a little gun. He collapses onto the redhead's shoulder, already apologizing man, saying he let her down. Meanwhile, everyone is staring at that shoe ability man. Oh, snap. Both Shizuku and our boy are staring. Because, girl, that is his father's relic. Whoa. Now this fight went a benevolent, man. The guy comes pointing at Glock. Man, I still can't believe there are this many guns in this series. Tells the two of them not to resist, then it'd be better for them. Katsumoto says for them to be stealing relics like this, they must be mentally unstable. To which the guy replies that it's only natural for someone to want to have a powerful relic. After all, it was way more valuable than any gem they could find here. A long time ago, their group started wondering what would happen to a relic if its owner died. Some thought they would fall asleep or vanish along with the owner, but they discovered a way to extract them. And in that way, people who possess powerful relics became more valuable than any gem. Out of nowhere, Shizuka is all worried, telling Hinata not to get closer to that thing. Sherry says she's never heard of something like this, and apparently, the fact that they are there makes it clear they were after her relic. The guy responds that it's a shame even a rank as guild ends up losing when caught in an ambush. While he's giving his speech, Hinata starts approaching, and the guy says it's their own fault for being so unprepared. Our boy is already surrounded, and the guy says they don't stand a chance because the relic he holds is one of the most powerful. Looking at our boy, he asks if he's not that student from Valkyria. Looks like today wasn't his lucky day. The guy strikes a little speech, but Hinata interrupts and brings up the shield relic they're using, asking where they got that. The guy with classes says he's not obligated to answer, but if he had to guess, it came from some corpse they extracted the relic from. Right away, Hinata calls him a bastard, crouches down, and charges while activating concentration. The skill reduces his perception of time to 1/10. Everything feels a little slower. The first shot comes, but he just steps aside. Sherry gasps and dodges, but she knows he's going to take the second one. But here comes our boy backing off and getting away unscathed. She notices though that he still wasn't strong enough. The boy's reaction time was impressive, probably that suit of his improved his reflexes. But too bad that still didn't change anything. In the blink of an eye, he's already about to land a punch, saying that everyone has a weak point. And man, I thought our boy was gonna dodge, but he takes a rock to the forehead. What the heck, kid? He goes rolling like trash. He tries to get up and already there's another attack coming, and it explodes into smoke everywhere. Tatsumana jumps in shock and immediately charges toward the enemies. The guy, however, easily blocks it with Sherry's relic, saying that as long as he has it, it's impossible for Hinata to win. Out of nowhere, some guys pop up from the ground like armadillos behind him. Finally, the Valkyria students start doing something. That blonde dude there looks like he's got all the swag, but the bastard doesn't do anything. At least he started throwing a few little strikes, and the blue thick-thighed girl still tells him not to worry, but they cover his back. But while they are in the fight, there are some guys up on the mountain and another weird one behind a rock. Odd, it's Subaru, freaking out, saying he's not getting involved in this. Not even with 9 lives would he get out of that place in one piece. Even if it's the Deldora Guild, he can't see any chance of them getting out alive. And, man, the classic folks are just watching with their arms crossed, and Annie from the deep web still hasn't done anything with the bears. Where's the monkey? Yume girl. The blonde guy is over there with the invisible knives when Katsumoto calls out to him and him to be careful. But it's too late, and our sweet cold girl arrives for the block. Too bad she's not that strong, he still takes a shoulder bash either way. The guy who stole the relic says it's amazing. Just one of those was already extremely dangerous, and to think Sherry controlled 4 at once. Katsumata tells them they need to understand they are living in an era where humanity has to unite to defend the world. So why are they choosing to act like this? The guy answers that no matter how hard or good the times are, humans are greedy beings. And they were simply trying to steal for that very reason. There's no deep motive or anything. And not only that, but if you look at it positively, what they are studying makes total sense. If the research advanced, they'd be able to extract relics from any corpse. That way, no matter who died in battle, they could keep collecting better relics. Suddenly, Hinata says that doesn't justify what they are doing. He's alive right now because the very people they are saying are worthless and disposable saved him. That whole idea of it doesn't matter who fights was absurd. If he can still fight today, it's because he carries a promise that was passed down to him. With that, the boy's determination and courage activate a response in the suit. And it's time to see the new outfit. He unlocks the brave suit. Roll in an update, and now the boy's looking like Sonic Cross with Speedo sounds Sonic from One Punch Man, you know, the one who got punched in the crotch. The enemies, who definitely aren't friends, are all shocked. The boy is stepping lightning, and the guy with the glasses is confused. The boy's relic suddenly felt stronger, but at the same time, he says it doesn't matter. That won't change anything. He tells our boy that if he stands still, he'll die in a painless way, so why not just do as told? Hinata, Gretel replies that he's more afraid of becoming someone who would surrender to someone like him, disappears in a flash and hits him with a flying kick to the back of the neck. Man, The suit says he only reaches new heights when he's full of determination. The guy gets pushed, turns and says the boy shouldn't think he's going to win. Fires off more attacks, look like it would hit, but our boy vanishes again, showing up behind him once more. This time, he serves a punch right to the chin. The guy is sent flying to the other side. When he looks back, where's the kid? Gone. Man, the boy now only shows up from behind. Another punch wins up, and one more to the chest, blowing him into the rocks. The guy looked like he was blacking out, and everyone was kind of stunned. Sherry's trying to figure out if he had been hiding his powers all along. Suddenly, someone says it's not over yet. The enemies are aiming at our boy, but they are already trembling. Hinata activates acceleration, which burns energy to go faster. He starts dodging everything and is already face to face with the other guy, and boom, one more slammed into the rocks. Sumeru, the coward, is watching. Man, what a shame. Right. He was the one who told the kid he didn't belong in the room, that he was a disgrace and that he came from Class E. Now he's over there, leaning against a rock, saying he can't believe what he's seeing. How could the kid who came from Class E already be stronger than him? And what you been doing this whole time? Now seeing our boy, he's questioning whether he, Subaru himself, even deserves to be in Class B. Then out of nowhere, now he's all red in the face saying that Hinata really is the badass. The rest of the group charges toward the shooters. Girl, now I hear an explosion. Subaru, suddenly brave, goes charging toward the enemies, saying that from now on, he wasn't going to retreat anymore. Girl, he was going to catch up to Hinata. Katsamata keeps attacking the guy with the shield relic while telling everyone to take advantage since they don't have the master's relic anymore. With that, the brawl's breaking loose. Right, man. While the two dummies are just hiding without doing anything, our boy is shining, going around beating everyone up while the guy with the green bandana is just watching. Sometime later, Katsamata wipes the sweat, asking if it's finally over. Subaru wants to know if those cheap-looking cuffs will be enough to hold those guys. Shizuku explains that they're rage suppression cuffs. They were strong enough to stop even awakened people, so guys like these would be easy. She even tells Subaru to start studying more before thinking about getting strong. Sherry is real calm, saying the situation is under control. Girl, are you not worried you lost your relic or what? Katsamata says it's all Phoenix to our boy, but unfortunately, right, he's passed out there after wrapping everything up. Man, he's drooling, completely wiped out. What's that? My boy got drained. He ended up like that because the brave suit is too strong and it drains 1 HP every time it's used until he has more attributes. If Subaru hadn't jumped in to help, maybe he wouldn't have made it out alive. Clearly, he can't keep using that suit until he's sure his stats are high enough. When he opens his eyes, guess who comes offering a hand? The blue thick-thighed brat. I told you, didn't I, guys? The second our boy got strong, she showed up all interested. Then she asks if he really thought he had a chance of winning. He just gets up and says, nah. He acted without thinking. Of course, the brat hears that and walks off saying that proves her point. He should leave the academy. I'm only chill with this girl because Hinata doesn't seem to care about her at all. It's just this one-sided drama. Subaru asks what her problem is and Hinata just says she's always like that. Then Subaru calls out to our boy and apologizes, saying clearly he deserves more than Class B, and the one who didn't belong there was him. Right? He wants our boy to forgive him for being a bad person who judged him wrong. Once again, Hinata doesn't care, just says it's fine, whatever. He gets it. The guy's just mad that they ended up in the same class. Subaru kinda agrees, and our boy says he understands. He worked hard to be there. So when someone he thought didn't deserve it got in, he ended up feeling angry. Subaru's emotional, but our boy just says he didn't care at all about what Subaru did at any point. Then the guy grabs him all awkward, while Sherry tells the man to give her relic back. She's sure that if he could take it, he can return it. The guy with the class is about to say that's not possible when suddenly a green-haired dude appears and says, yes, it is possible. The guy calls him boss, but apparently, the green-haired man just turns his head, man. Everyone spooked. The guy turns and says that he wasn't planning to give it back to her though. Sherry asks who he is and why he killed someone from his own group. But suddenly, they feel pressure around them and start trembling. No one could even move their own body. And the guy says for them not to panic. He doesn't kill people without a specific reason. That guy he killed, it was just because he acted without his permission. The plan was to grab him and then come back. But they succeeded and didn't return. Ignoring his orders and using the power like that, that's why they died. He then picks up a purple stone and says they were nothing but traitors to this place. Right away, Katsamata is sure that strange purple Q must have the relic inside. The problem was that his body was paralyzed. The guy then says they should have fought better before relaxing, thinking the fight was over. It's in the moment you think you've won that you're most open to a counterattack. They had a needle in their shadow, that's why they couldn't move. The guy tells them to relax. They'll be able to move again soon. Some of the group enter the shadow and say that things just got a lot easier in the situation. But then suddenly, he says he almost forgot. He was going to take Katsumaru's relic too. But, man, at that exact moment, Hinata is already beside him saying that Sherry's relic wasn't leaving with him. The punch is already about to hit the guy's chin, and he wonders how that kid was even able to move. That's when he realizes that the brat had dodged the needle in the shadow. Even so, he vanishes right in front of our boy, who looks around wondering where he went. But the bastard appears behind him, coming from a veil of shadows to land a hit. But, man, our boy now only comes from behind and is about to land another flying kick. The guy's all fluster as he defends. Right, here comes another Hisoka type, but he defends with the hand that was holding the cubes, and that causes both cubes to go flying. Both of them dash forward, each one grabs a cube, and everyone starts calling out to them. Katsumata goes in for a sword slash, and the green-haired guy says things didn't end how he wanted. He dodges and backs off, saying that for now, he'll have to leave. Katsumata yells for him to wait, but he just looks at our boy and says that he'll definitely remember him. With that, the shadow enters the ground, while everyone is fuming that the bastard vanished right in front of them. The guy with the bandana watches, realizing that the enemies got exactly what they came for. The blonde guy starts thanking our boy, saying they couldn't do anything even though he saved everyone. But our boy just passes out on top of some random trash on the floor. Sherry immediately realizes that he pushed way beyond his limits. That made her understand that he's not the type to hide his strength in a desperate situation, which means that when he arrived here, he didn't have that blue ability. Somehow, he evolved during the battle. Maybe that was the true nature of his relic. But there's one thing she won't deny, she was interested in the boy called Hinata back at the monster department at one of those alliance meetings. Apparently, Sherry had just finished reporting everything that happened there. Kurita comments that he's never heard of this thing with relics being stolen. While Remp says they'll definitely need to figure out a way to counter something like that, Sherry comments that it seems pretty simple. All they need is something to cover each person's hand. That way, it seems the enemies can absorb anything. Ogwai then comments that since she mentions someone who uses shadows, only one person came to his mind, a criminal rankers guild known as No Fun. Apparently, their leader had the ability to manipulate shadows. Renpei says it's disgraceful. The world's already full of problems and now another one like this shows up. Meanwhile, Nada, not suspecting a thing, asks what Sherry's going to do. Without her relic, she wasn't even really one of them anymore. Hey man. Nothing suspicious about this guy at all. Yuno guy tells him he's going too far. But humble Sherry says that he actually has a point. The relic they recovered wasn't hers. So from now on, Katsumata himself would be taking her position in that place. Hiro wants to know what she plans to do from now on. Man, she just says she's going to retire because there's something else she wants to do. I've never seen a woman so calm. They stole her ranker's relic, and she's like, they stole it. I'm done going into dungeons. I'm going to do other stuff, you know. The only thing she says is that she needs to talk to Atsushi first. Yeah, she wants to ask him a favor. Right? Probably going to wanna be a teacher at Valkyria. But, man, I'm still shocked this woman isn't affected. She's the definition of stoic. And, of course, right, back at school, everyone's jaws are on the floor. A new instructor was being introduced and there she is all casual. I'd say she even looks more charming now. She introduces herself as the former leader of the Deldora Guild and says it's a pleasure to meet everyone. Everyone's stunned, especially staring at our boy, but he doesn't look very excited about it. 2 days after the relic theft, our boy is in his room staring at a bunch of crystals. Apparently, this was his reward for his performance back there. The problem is, he's thinking that maybe this is even too much. Nanashi wants to know what he's thinking so hard about just sitting there. He says that instead of absorbing everything, maybe he should sell them, get some money, and pay for the hospital bills. She tells him not to overthink, just absorb what he can because he wouldn't even be able to use it all anyway. She tells him to absorb the gold one, but when he tries, the system says it's not possible. He would first need to defeat an earth lizard. Right away, our boy realizes there's no shortcut. You can't just buy stones and get stronger. So she explains that he needs to understand early on. To reach the maximum potential of this suit, he has to have unshakable willpower and discipline. He can't forget the feeling that activated that suit when he threw himself face to face against a formidable enemy without hesitation. Our boy's just there thinking about the list he received when he awakened that suit. He knows that his suit drastically boosts agility, which means that if that hadn't awakened, that green-haired guy would have definitely killed him. Considering all that, he knows it's not time yet to worry about money. In the same second, he starts absorbing all the stones. With 10 of the cannibal monkey, a requirement is fulfilled increasing. Shield proficiency, impact resistance, and a bit of each stat. On top of that, now he had awakened the stats required to equip the rage suit. Now I'm not sure if this is a new suit or if it's like the red one he already had, but now he can use it freely. Who knows? All I know is that the next day, the cute red-headed teacher shows up in his classroom. Right, man. Everyone thought she was going to be Class A's teacher, but nope. She's in Class B, and the director tells everyone to welcome her. Subaru spooked, wondering how she's already here. It's only been 3 days since they left that portal. The director tells her to take it slow, observe the class until she settles in, but she just walks, heads to the back, and just stops there out of nowhere. She keeps staring at our boy, and everyone's wondering why. He's trying to figure out if it's because he saved the wrong cube, and now she's mad at him. After the dungeon, the relic he managed to save was his dad's. He asked to keep it, saying it belonged to someone important to him. They apologized, but unfortunately it was a very important piece of evidence. But being all sweet, she smiled, saying they'd take great care of it. Now he's in class wondering like, what's going on? Why is she staring at me like that? He wouldn't be able to focus in class with a demon on his back. A while later during break, there's Anko and the blonde guy eating. When he calls her, she already gets all awkward. That girl, right man, she's not all there in the head either. And Chloe asks her what her opinion is of that boy Hinata from Class B. She stands there thinking and says she thinks his outfit is kind of tacky. But obviously, he's badass. Right? He's trying to know about his powers, not his appearance. What he wants to know is who would win in a fight, him or Hinata. Of course, the girl says he would easily win with both hands tied. Kylo asked that, but is all insecure, remembering our boy's fight. His punches might not hurt that much, but he was really fast. Suddenly, Kaido approaches and asks why all the curiosity. He could just pick a fight with the guy and find out for himself. Plus, someone who thinks she's perfect for doing something like that was about to show up. Close, as he knows. The exam of the certain military academy was coming up. Man, this place is busy, there's always some event happening. Already in the corridors, look who's arriving, man. A Canyon who's looking skinnier now. What happened? Artist ran out of energy, and now Subaru is glued to our boy saying how amazing he is, that they should have seen how he fought. Akane sits down, finding this whole friendship strange, while Subaru's all smiling saying they are childhood friends. Now he's part of the group that Hinata's part of too. Saki though, already cuts in. Says she's not going to be part of that mess. She barely knows Subaru and is already acting like he's part of the group. Hinata ignores the drama and asks Akane how her training went, to which she answers that was just a Saki show. At that moment, she feels someone's presence at the door and asks if they know those weirdos standing there. I think the drawing messed up because those guys were supposed to be outside looking in. But they are outside and the girls are also outside. What's going on here? Subaru comments that strangely, those guys don't seem to be staring at Hinata the way that woman was in the morning. The two of them then enter the room, saying that since they've been noticed, there's no point hiding anymore. Saki comments that it's some guy named Beaver, one of the strongest students in Class A. He walks up to our boy and asks if he's that Hinata, and says that he should join the man equipment research team. There, he'd be able to design any gear he wanted within the academy. The girl with the beanie is kinda hyping it up, right, saying it's amazing. She turns to our boy and says that ever since he arrived at this place, his combat power went from 3 to 3 million. Clearly, these two aren't all right in the head and are putting on a little show to convince the boy. Akane is a bit confused and Subaru comments that it's way too late for someone to be recruiting now. At that, Anita goes to apologize saying he's not interested. When suddenly, Sherry walks in, saying he shouldn't make a decision like that just yet. He should first take a look at the group before making a final decision. She's sure it'll be valuable for him. Everyone's a bit confused and Subaru's obviously not even remotely interested in that. After school, Beaver welcomes everyone. And as expected, right, it's a man equipment lab. But our boy asks if they are the only members and the guy says yes. He introduces himself, and the girl with the beanie says her name is Maha Mishikora from Class C. They had another member named Shuhagen, but, yeah, man, he's gone. Our boy knows that one, right, that guy went to rest. Beaver comments that, as they know, their school is kinda military style. Because of that, sports and things like clubs pretty much don't exist. And the few clubs that do exist are 100% focused on sports or combat. The only club that even remotely feels like a cultural club is this one. Subaru comments that if someone wants to live a normal life, they probably shouldn't even be part of this school. The two of them get a bit discouraged and agree saying that's why they didn't even have an advisor. Our boy says, right. That means their club isn't unofficial. Maho, crying, says they had one until the middle of last year, but they lost them. With a lot of effort and persistence, they've been managing to keep the club going, but things weren't looking good. And that's because Tsushima made it clear that they couldn't keep a club with only 2 members. It was a waste of the school's resources. Akane already knows that's why they went after Sherry as soon as she arrived. Mahu, however, explains that Sherry said she would only accept if Hinata joined too. Whoa. Our boy wants to know. Right? So why does she want him there? Suddenly, she says it's because there's something he needs. She shows him that skill cube and explains that mana equipment are tools that receive mana energy from the stones. Amazing. Some of these tools were strong enough to take down creatures from another world. The problem is they were rarely used in real combat since everyone preferred to use relics. Most equipment created nowadays was weaker than a one-star relic. In other words, worse than our boy back when he was Sekdama from the deep web. But by showing the cube, she thinks that seeing that might mean they need new perspectives on how to use that kind of item, the kind of equipment capable of making use of a relic that was stolen. It was information that hadn't yet been made public, but something needed to be done to stop those people. And at the same time, it would show that these tools had unknown potential. The goal was that in the future, when the monsters attacked, relics wouldn't be the only way they could deal with the creatures. Mana equipment would also be essential. Beaver, however, says that's not all. Equipment also had a certain charm, and the piece that embodied that perfection man was a combat suit that ran by using stone energy. The only problem was it burned energy so fast it could be used for combat. But if refined, maybe it could make it work. Akane wants to know what his goal is with that, and he answers that it's to create a super robot. Strangely enough, our boy and Subaru get super hyped. Even Saki seems interested, and now everyone's chatting about it. Sherry turns to our boy and tells him not to focus too much on the robot, but personally, she believed it would be something good for him. Besides that, she wants to personally help him get stronger and unlock the full potential of his suit. At that moment, he realizes that the cursed woman had already figured out how his power works, and she comments that if they could somehow figure out how to reverse the effect of that cube, she could join his team under the excuse of research materials. A king asks why our boy doesn't give it a shot. He had to remember that the Academy Festival was coming up soon. It looked like there'd be some kind of group competition, and having his own club would give him an advantage. After all, he was the one who said he wanted to take every chance he could to prove his worth. Hinata, as always, goes into thinking mode. Knowing this was a chance to prove himself, he says, all right, they could count on him from now on. Next scene, there he is inside Nanashi's generated portal. Another creature down, and he keeps walking through the corridors. As always, he's reaching this part tired, but not struggling much. The real problem was those two creatures in the room, the horsehead and bullhead. Both of them snort. The boy clenches his fist and charges in to land the first punch. One lands in the chest, but unfortunately, as always, no damage is dealt. The horse tries to grab him, but mid-air, he teleports from behind and is already on its back. He activates vengeance along with a rage punch, but once again, nothing happens. The horse laughs and now the bull comes charging to strike with an upward axe swing and looks like he got sliced man. He appears back in the room realizing that he still doesn't have enough offensive power to deal with that. Not to mention that he can't keep dodging for long since the brave suit burns through his energy too fast. He's feeling kinda down, and Nanashi comments that things don't seem to be going well for him. She says she thought he had finally started making some progress, but apparently, there's still a long road ahead. But that's fine. She'll tell him exactly what he needs. Obviously, at this point, what he needs is some kind of finishing move. He asks what she means by that, and she explains that with the new powers he's gained, most enemies should be defeated easily. However, that only applied to creatures he could actually damage. Against highly durable and resistant monsters, he had as little power as always. It doesn't matter how fast he is or how much he dodges. If his punches don't do damage, there's no way to win. He wants to know what the strategy should be. Should he go back to hunting, maybe gather points and upgrade his skills, put everything into strength, maybe learn something powerful, or does he just have no idea what to do? She says he's really looking at things the wrong way. No matter what skill he acquires, all of them are just extensions of the power granted by his relic. The real difference is in how he's applying that energy. She tells him to remember Shizuku, says that girl is arrogant, but she understood how to maximize the power of her relic. What she could do was infuse life energy into any object, but she didn't stop there. With that energy imbued into her sword, she was able to create projectiles and turn it into a kind of ranged weapon. It was the perfect example of turning a relic's unique trait into a completely different kind of move. He needed to do something similar, but using the cards he already had on the table. The next day, our boy is in class still thinking about everything, she said. Looking at his abilities, he knew it was something beyond just activating one of them. Sumaru seems to get tired of the silence and asks why he looks so serious. He replies that he's trying to think of a super attack. Right at that moment, Tsushima opens the door and enters with Sherry, announcing that they need to start preparing because the Military Academy Exchange Festival was going to happen at the end of the month. Officially, it was just a simple event for each school to observe the progress of the others. But on the flip side, that was just how it was presented. The truth was it was just a regular festival and he wants everyone to just enjoy it. I thought he was going to say it's some life or death kind of event. Be careful. But no. He just said it's normal. It would all take place at the Spear Dome, which is where the rank key portals are located. Subaru questions whether they are just a bunch of monkeys performing for others to watch. The teacher says that's the price they have to pay for the funding the academy receives from government resources. Hinata then asks how the other schools evaluate the students' performance. The guy tells Sherry to explain and she says that during the exam, there would be two types of combat, individual and group. Any student can participate in the individual matches. But for group matches, obviously, you need a set number of people. Not just that. You also had to be part of a group. Tsumura wants to know what the difference in rules is and she says most of them are pretty similar. Only this year, there would be a kind of special rule that still hasn't been revealed. Some fool asks if it's dangerous and the woman replies that there's danger everywhere. That's just how the hunter world is. Not to mention, they didn't need to worry since there would be rank as medics ready to save anyone. Back at the club after school, Beaver is celebrating, saying they'll finally have the chance to show their power to the world. Akane wants to know if they are already planning things out and what exactly you are going to do with that stone. Beaver explains that in this competition, every student is allowed to use any equipment they want. And if they start developing some mana tools now, they'll definitely have the best ones on the day. Man, now that I'm realizing it, this is just turning into a bunch of filler. Right? Let's skip ahead a bit. The little robot made some food. They chatted, sent some stuff. Akane made another joke through two fingers. Now we are outside with Akane and asking our boy why he's been feeling down lately. As is about to answer, he hears someone shouting up ahead, saying the other girl is taking too long. There's a little blonde there, scolding the current waifu. Looks like those ones aren't for his school, man. Yeah, you can tell by the uniforms. Right? Another dude is asking why she even registered for this festival if she doesn't stand a chance. One more walks past, saying he's leaving early. Meanwhile, Android 18 tells her to get out already. They don't have all day. The long-haired guy's angry, while the girl's apologizing. Man, I thought our boy was going to save her. Super heroic. But instead, he just nails her in the stomach. Even our boy flinched at that, and they don't seem to care much. 18 says kicking her like that is a bit much, but the guy just yanks her by the braid. He asks how the hell she plans on fixing all this mess after screwing up. She shouldn't have even signed up for this event being just a pathetic Class D. 18 says is going too far, but she's the one who made the girl trip and drop everything. And the long-haired guy wants to know if she really isn't going to give up. She doesn't say anything, just throws the papers down and says she really is desperate. He goes in for another stomp, but now Haneda shows up and slaps the papers into his face. Man. The blonde girl is startled while the guy asks who the hell he is. The waifu, on the other hand, is already totally in love with our shining boy. Our boy stands there defending her while the guy asks who he thinks he is to interfere. He charges to punch him, but our boy calmly catches it with no effort and says he's a friend of the girl he just kicked. And it looks like he is, man, because the guy's shaking and our boy tells him to apologize to Rin right now. The loser doesn't want to give in, but he's already realized the guy's way too strong. Rin asked our boy to calm down and thanks him, saying it's okay. That this was her problem, not his. Then the guy lets go. She was to pick up the papers, hands them over, and tells them they can go ahead without her. The guy yanks his arm away and says this won't end here. The others ask if she's really going to let him lead just like that. She replies, it's fine. She doesn't want to lose points over something so trivial. Hinata's confused, asking what points she's talking about. And the big-eyed girl's already blushing, saying that as always, he has a strong sense of justice. Look who's getting jealous, Akane is just watching. The two of them chatting about him joining Valkyria. She jumps in, asking how long they've known each other. Our boy explains he's known Rin since childhood just like Shizuko. Akane asks if she knows her, and right away, Rin doesn't look happy hearing Shizuko's name. She says that knowing she's one of the strongest at Valkyria just shows she's still trying to be the best, even though she was a piece of trash. Then she turns around saying she's leaving, but says she's looking forward to seeing Hinata at the festival. Later on in the club, the teacher hears about the fight. She asks if our boy landed one clean hit on each guy and knocked everyone down. Weaver comments that based on their uniforms, they must be from Odin Military Academy, one of the few places that still uses a ranking system based on points, which is kinda outdated. There wasn't much mystery to it. Right, man. The more points you had, the higher you were on the pyramid, and the better your classes and lessons were. The idea was that keeping the students in this kind of system would make them always compete and improve. And the truth is that Odin actually did have a lot of talented students compared to other schools. The problem was that with the way they did things, they didn't foster teamwork at all, man. In the dungeons where Deldora sometimes brought along some members from Odin, the guys would see their teammates getting crushed and wouldn't do a thing. He even remembers a certain person who took every opportunity to step on others. Weaver says it's not like they don't use a point system here too. He believes this school probably has just as many bad people as Odin does. He then asked our boy if that friend he mentioned is part of the committee, and he says yes. So Weaver says to expect a very serious competition. That's because Odin's students do anything to earn points. The club members are all pumped up, saying they won't back down, because if they did well in this competition, they'd get more funding to grow their club. Hinata, however, is wondering if it's really going to be that hard to beat those guys. Meanwhile, Rin was walking down the hallway and ends up about to run into Shizuko. One walked toward the other, gave that little stare, and they just passed by. Rin looks back and calls Shizuko a murderer, who isn't fazed at all, and just notices the uniform and realizes she's now an Odin. Maybe that's a good thing. Finally, she'll get another chance to prove she was right. Then she goes into the classroom to meet with the rest of her academy people. The long-haired guy already asks if she really thinks he's going to let go after that humiliation. Ari then, she should just say who that guy is and where she knows him from. She completely ignores him, just asks if the meeting has started or not. The angry dude comes to punch her in the back, but this time she ducks and man whips him right in the chin and leaves the dude twisted. She wipes her hand and says that's for that earlier shield bro. Poor guy just collapsed there. I don't really know what happened now. I'm confused. 18 is shaking. Right? I don't get why Rin got beat up earlier, then girl. Why didn't you hit them back at that moment? To get rescued. Okay, fine. Makes sense. The guy in front asks if she finally stopped pretending. Like, who dodged most attacks was really going to trip and drop some papers. Looks like she was just pretending to be weak and clumsy. And, man, I thought that wasn't the case, but she said that's exactly it. She says that while she was there, someone she hadn't seen in a long time showed up right at that moment. The guy says it's not a good move to fool others like that, but the troublemaker just says that it's normal to want to look vulnerable in front of someone you like. And now she's impressed. Hinata was much stronger than she expected. That one's nuts, man. None of them are right in the head. Akane is the only normal one. 18 is all confused asking, why is she so strong if she's in Class D? And the black-haired guy explains that she transferred in the middle of the year. She only started earning points now, which is why she still ranks so low.